Heck, I can sleep comfortably anywhere now. So if that all sounds good to you, call now to give Transcend a try. You'll be glad you did.
Now you can try Transcend and sleep comfortably for 10 restful nights with a money-back guarantee. Just pay return shipping. So call minicpap.com now. 1-800-300-6551. Again, that's 1-800-300-6551. 1-800-300-6551.
If you still haven't purchased the very best pillow, of course I'm talking about MyPillow, the 4-pack deal is back. So I strongly urge you to go online or call now to make sure you take advantage of this great deal. A great night's sleep is so important, so give yourself the gift of a great night's sleep by ordering a MyPillow. By using the promo code Amy, you'll get the absolute best deal available anywhere. The MyPillow 4-pack deal includes 2 premium MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows at 50% off. I love that I can move the fill to get the support I need, regardless if I sleep on my back or side. I never wake up with a stiff neck or headache. And MyPillow is made in America, washable and dryable, hypoallergenic, and has a 10-year warranty plus a 60-day money-back guarantee. So get your 50% off the 4-pack in February by calling 800-489-0201, use the promo code Amy, or visit MyPillow.com. That's 800-489-0201, promo code Amy.
AM 560, The Answer.
Take a quick call. We're talking about the FBI. A quick call from Ed in Oak Brook. Should we release the memo, Ed?
And not only should we release the memo, but we should release the whole 50 other pages as well that you just mentioned. But my point that I wanted to make is that everyone at the top of the FBI in Washington, including HR, should all be dismissed or reassigned or sent to Alaska. I have no faith in the FBI anymore. None. But the field guys are probably doing a great job. But and also, like, I can make one more point, that whole Clinton investigation should be all redone with new people, and all the immunity deals should be scrapped off the table as well, because nobody was in jeopardy during that investigation since the fix was in. Have a nice day.
Thanks for the call, Ed. You know, it's funny. I've often thought about restarting my life in Alaska, like so many people do. Leave Alaska, go get a job on one of the crab boats, you know, like from Deadliest Catch, and just start over up there.
I don't know. It would ruin your manicure, Dan. I don't think that's for you.
I get to hang out with Todd Palin, ride dog sleds.
No.
Traverse glaciers. Me and Jim Comey up in Alaska.
I don't
restarting
think so.
our lives. That's what you can do in America. It's the great thing about America. Thanks for the suggestion, Ed. All right, coming up, we're going to turn our discussion stateside. Governor Rauner delivered his State of the State address, and Kristen McQuarrie will give us insight and analysis at 5:38. But now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
30 degrees, some clouds this morning, and again, we've pretty much reached our high temperatures for the day right now, and temps will fall throughout the day. The lead Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee is accusing Republicans on the panel of secretly changing a memo, reportedly detailing surveillance abuses in the FBI's Russia investigation. The White House is expected to release that memo later today. President Trump scheduled to speak to Republican lawmakers at their annual planning meeting in West Virginia. There were some questions as to whether the president would make that trip after yesterday's deadly crash involving a train carrying members of Congress from Washington to White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia.
Over the next few days, our investigators will work on scene to thoroughly document the crash site and gather factual information. Our mission is to understand not only what happened, but why it happened.
The NTSB continues to investigate. One person died in yesterday morning's crash. The Trump administration extending protections for thousands of Syrian nationals living in the U.S. Almost 7,000 Syrians have protected status. New Zealand's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern this morning says she's backing sanctions on North Korea and urging a de-escalation on the Korean Peninsula, and says her country will maintain close ties with the United States, even if they don't always disagree. It's a heartbroken skeleton veteran, Katie Eulander, this morning saying that she disagrees with the Court of Arbitration for Sports decision to overturn the disqualifications of 28 Russians who competed in the 2014 Sochi Olympics. Eulander finished fourth in Sochi and had been in line to move up into medal contention. Republican Congressman Trey Gowdy of South Carolina believes it's time he does something a little more rewarding, announcing yesterday he will not seek re-election and plans to return to the justice system. Mayor of Nashville admits she had an affair with a former member of her security staff, a Nashville police officer. In a press conference, the Democrat, Mayor Megan Barry, says she is accepting responsibility for the pain she caused her family. Commuters will be paying more to ride Metra today. Fare hikes go into effect for all tickets, one-way, 10-ride, monthly, and weekend passes. Two are dead following a shooting on Chicago's west side. Victim shot in the head last night while sitting in a vehicle in the 4700 block of West Arlington. Michigan Governor Rick Snyder says he's forming an interstate partnership and says it's being established to help strengthen defenses against the invasive Asian carp here in Chicago. Snyder says even if a new Asian carp barrier isn't in place at the Brandon Road Lock and Dam until 2025, the Great Lakes states and Ontario can't lose any time.
If we don't start today, how much longer would it even be? And how much risk are we at every day that we're not doing something to make this happen?
The initiative will help pay for costs of upgrading the lock and dam near Joliet. That's a key choke point between the carp-infested Illinois River and Lake Michigan. The Bulls could not slow down C.J. McCollum. He had 28 in the first quarter, a career-high 50 for the game, and the Trailblazers win over the Bulls 124-108. The news, a service of La Quinta Inns and Suites. How do business travelers win on the road? By staying at La Quinta Inns and Suites. Relax with contemporary lobby makeovers and stylish room designs. Prepare to win at business. Book now at LQ.com. 5:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher breaks down a huge win for the president.
What I would say is this is what leadership looks like. What I would say is, yep, we still got a long way to go. The government is reopened because the president didn't blink. You know what was different? It was in the messaging. You know who delivers a message like a bolt of lightning? Yeah, that guy that lives at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue these days.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Watch today's show live right now on the Income Store live video stream at 560theanswer.com.
The flu is getting around this time of year, but fortunately, MedExpress is open 8 to 8 every day. Just walk into one of our warm, welcoming centers to get the care you need. MedExpress Urgent Care.
Hey guys, Ken here from the hit podcast Today's Growth. Who would win a 3-mile bicycle race, an 11-year-old girl or last year's winner of the Tour de France? It all depends on the bicycle. It depends on their vehicle. Both on a 10-speed and the pro racer is going to win every time. But put the racer on a tricycle and the 11-year-old wins every time. You see, it's not the driver, it's the vehicle. When it comes to generating revenue, it's exactly the same. If you have a job or a small business, you are riding a tricycle. You can only go so fast. If you need to make up lost ground, it's not going to happen on a tricycle. No matter how fast you pedal, it's simply not going to win the race. Why do many people with no schooling and no advanced degree often become very wealthy? Simple. They choose to only ride 10 speeds. When it comes to helping people create their next revenue model, both Forbes and Inc. recommend Income Store as a can't miss when it comes to putting people on a 10-speed. Could your household or business use an additional revenue model that doesn't solely depend on you? If so, you need to check out IncomeStore.com. That's IncomeStore.com.
5:36. A check of the roads with a man who's very happy with a win last night by his Butler Bulldogs. Could probably push them into the NCAA tournament, beating Marquette last night. Jim Telemonte?
Yes, Mike, very helpful. That Big East is tightly packed. That was a big one. The outbound Ryan got delays, diminishing somewhat between just before 87th to 95th. There's road work there on the 3 left lanes. There was a crash as well, which had 1 lane blocked, but that's cleared. So you've got 2 lanes open again. And you're just looking at about 4 to 5 minutes worth of delays on the outbound Ryan. Inbound, you've got about a 2-minute delay from 18th into the Burns Circle. Also, there are delays on the inbound or Howard-bound red line after there was a mechanical issue on a train at 95th. Inbound Bishop Ford, slow 103rd at the merge, 18 minutes, 80-94 to the Ryan. Inbound Stevenson now, you've got a 2-minute delay, Pulaski to Kedzie. The other expressways and tollways are fine. Traffic is a service of Staples. Staples has low prices on the organizational solutions your business needs. Clear the clutter. Focus on the job at hand this year, like banker's boxes, file folders, and storage bins. Less mess equals more success. Visit Staples.com for more.
Staples, it's Pro Time. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. A breezy day ahead. Cloudy, much colder. High of 20. Don't let the temperatures fool you now. We'll be in single digits around 6 p.m. and then temperatures falling through the night to a low of 3 overnight and a high of 21 tomorrow. Currently, 30 degrees. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy every Sunday afternoon at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan. And in for Amy this morning, Chicago Tribune editorial board member Kristen McQuarrie. Kristen, Governor Rauner gave his final State of the State address yesterday, and it was interesting. It was very much like his appearance with Ives before your editorial board. I'm not sure exactly where Rauner thinks we're going. In one breath, we're, as a state, about to either be downgraded to a territory, disintegrate into a pile of ash, or we're on the cusp of being pre-China takeover Hong Kong. Which one are we closer to? Because I get both scenarios.
Ash.
Okay.
Close to Ash. So, yeah, so I'm not big on these types of speeches anyway. This is his State of the State. It's always just this rosy chance for the governor to give a message without having to have it be filtered through the media. And his budget address, which is more substantial, will be in a couple of weeks. But
Did you know Ernest Hemingway's from Illinois?
Did you know that delicious finger-shaped sponge cake
Twinkie
was an Illinois original?
Nuclear chain reaction and the Twinkie both happen here, baby.
River Forest.
In a better time.
Was the name. I did not realize
it's fascinating.
Twinkie was invented here.
Yeah.
I also liked when he pointed out his 4 supporters. They were up in the gallery, the Quincy Veterans Home buddies that he made. I'm just kidding.
Right.
And
he should have thought about taking a page out of Trump's book, actually.
He did not do as effective storytelling as Trump did, but he did tout the task force that they set up for agriculture teachers. So
finally, how long have we been beating the drum for that?
Look, he admittedly, I think, does not have a lot in his win column into year 3 of his administration, and so his State of the State was much as it has been in the past, kind of looking forward, trying to, encourage and inspire the legislature to work with him. I will point out that because I don't think it's emphasized enough in the context of his administration, that this is a legislature that from day one threw up roadblocks, a legislature that has never passed a balanced budget, even though they criticize him for not introducing one, and a legislature which is hardly in session. Tuesday, I think, was the first day of this year's session, the end of the month of January. Next month, they're in session for 8 days.
Generally, although
in March, they're in session for 4 days, Dan.
Although I would have to say, given the Constitution of the General Assembly, I do feel better when they're not in session. So
watch your wallet.
There's that aspect of it. Here's the thing about the General Assembly, though, and your point is well taken. But for his typical anodyne striking of the bipartisan note, the problem that Rauner has after 3 years is it's difficult for a allegedly Republican governor to talk about bipartisanship and to credibly work with Democrats when he can't work with or bring Republicans to the table.
That's a tough one for him to overcome.
It's tough. So on the day of his State of the State address, with all of the balloons and kittens and a Better Tomorrow stuff, Republican State Rep John Cabello from Rockford. Yeah, Rockford in the house.
I'm wearing my Rockford shirt.
You're a Rockfordian.
I am, and that is the correct term.
Of course
and
it is.
I have a
You
T-shirt
think
that
you think I just got here? Kick it out. Cabello, who also was the state director for Trump in Illinois.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
He took the occasion of the State address to call on the governor to resign. I mean, it is that you may.
That is silly, though.
Well,
Can we just say that that's silly?
Okay, but here's the thing. It is remarkable in your lifetime, in my lifetime. I mean, I'm older than you. I've never seen Republican state legislators openly ridiculing and revolting against a sitting incumbent governor like this. Not when George Ryan was under federal investigation did that happen.
I think there was ridiculing, no, but certainly I'm sure there were murmurs about the need for him to step aside, and he was very much neutered 2 years into his term because he was under federal investigation.
Well, I agree, but I'm just saying.
And Blagojevich had people openly calling.
Well, I understand, but that was after the investigation had metastasized, and you could start to see the writing on the wall, and this was not going to end well. But I mean, Rauner's not accused of federal crimes for the moment, and this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Does that say something about how he has, despite what he tried to portray before your editorial board, how he has interacted with Republicans, where his credibility currently stands with both sides of the aisle?
I can't defend that. I can't and I won't. I just do think context is important.
Yeah.
And he has had the legislature's goal from day one, from January of 2015, when he took the oath of office, was to block him from getting anything in his win column. And again, it's one of the things I liked about what Jeannie Ives said in front of our board, though, is she understands the limitations of what the legislature is willing to pass. She understands the gap in policy positions between hers and the Democrats that control the House and Senate. What she won't do is engage in a personal fight with the speaker. That's what she said. I think that's a mature position to take. And she also isn't overselling and underdelivering. She has a pretty short list of things, if she's the nominee and then if she's the governor, that she would come back to the table and say, this is a win for me. You know, pension reform.
If the power structure remains the same, which should never be taken as a given.
I'm taking it as a given.
Well, you shouldn't,
Okay.
but I mean, but you can take it as a given for the sake of argument in that scenario, which is a legitimate thing to ask. If it changes, obviously the world changes. If it's still the same, then what are you going to do in that context? That's a fair question. But the other thing that I think she started to get to before your board is this politics is about pressure and aligning interests. And you can put pressure on different people and align different interests around different issues. But the putting pressure on people isn't saying Mike Madigan's a crook. That's easy. The difficult part about putting pressure on people, legislators to move and to move their speaker, is to go to their districts, to make the case directly to people that have never faced a challenge, that have never faced heat because the Republican Party doesn't compete in their districts or because the party hasn't competed or put up credible candidates for a long time. And there are a number of districts like that. I mean, look at the number of retirements in both sides, but including the Democrats from the General Assembly this cycle. That tells you something. And there's a lot of Democrats, and if they maintain the majority, then there still will be a lot of Democrats in swing-ish suburban districts that are susceptible to pressure if you make the case directly to their constituents to put pressure on them, rather than just playing the 30,000-foot game with the four tops in Springfield.
I agree with that. I think that the Republican Party and outside groups have done a good job, though, of recruiting candidates in a lot of these districts over the past few years have made the who have made the case directly to voters in those districts. I mean, the governor can't be in every district in the state, and those candidates have made a case. They've made some gains, but they have not flipped some of those seats. So
Tell me about it.
I know. Well, the map is a problem, and also when you talk about pressure. Something that happened yesterday was, of course, Governor Rauner's not even off the podium yet, and you already have the responses from the Democratic leaders criticizing him, mocking him, including Speaker Madigan, blaming Governor Rauner for the dysfunctional property tax system in our state. And nobody questions it.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Nobody's even asking Madigan about the property tax system, about Joe Barrios and how he's backing him for re-election. He doesn't even get the question.
First of all, Madigan has only been the speaker for 3.5 decades. You have got to give him a chance.
No,
He's getting to it. Also, to be fair, they were in a bit of a rush yesterday after the state union because it came over the transom that the City Club is going to be honoring Alderman Ed Burke for 50 years of public service. And so, so everybody wanted to get their table. I mean, I dropped everything.
But do you see just the fact that we're
great?
Again, I don't want to. I'm not trying to defend Rauner, but I am trying to give some texture and context to him being dumped on, and the speaker just completely getting away with not even having to answer questions about his close ally in the Cook County Democratic Party, who is now facing a lawsuit for overtaxing and overassessing black and brown communities and benefiting wealthier communities. Can you imagine if Joe Barrios were a Republican? He would have stepped down by now. He would have protests outside of his home. And so I'll calm down now and get off my high horse.
All right. Well, we'll kick it around with Barrios at the Burke Luncheon.
Okay.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Okay. Let's see if I can pull myself back together here. It's getting colder. So today, breezy, cloudy, high of only 20. Tonight, dropping to 3 degrees. So we're back to that tundra. Tomorrow, same. Plenty of sunshine, but also dropping into the teens. Snow coming over the weekend, though. So get your sleds out. And let's get a check of the roads with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Kristen. Good morning. Good morning, Dan. Our outbound Ryan is looking good now. There was an earlier crash near 87th and mixed in with some road work causing delays. 3 left lanes are set to reopen after the construction. Crash is gone, so traffic's moving pretty well now. Inbound, we see delays on the Ryan from 31st into the Burns Circle, 20 minutes 95th to downtown. Edens and Kennedy are clear. Got Eisenhower, a little tight, Manheim to Harlem, 32 minutes, 3:90 to the Loop. Stevenson, 38 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Bishop Ford, got a 5-minute delay. Stony Island feeder to emerge. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Year after every new year, you make the same resolutions for yourself, hoping that one of these times they just might stick. You know, the whole new year, new you thing. You're going to lose weight, quit smoking, eat better, find the love of your life. Well, best of luck to you. How about a resolution that can really happen? One for your business's computer and IT network. It's a goal that can be accomplished and realized instantly with the help of Turnkey IT. 2018 is poised for growth. You can't afford to let your business become sidetracked by poor IT assistance or dated computer hardware or software. Remember, in the changing world of IT, what you upgraded a few years ago may not cut it in the new year. One of the biggest parts of your business infrastructure is your IT network, and if that's not right, the impact can cost you a lot of money. Make your resolution today. Be ready to handle the growth expected in 2018 with your business backbone supported by Turnkey IT.
Leave the technical stuff to the pros so you can focus on the important things. Visit turnkey.pro today. Turnkey.pro.
Nobody should have to live with depression. Not anymore.
It's a new year. Time for a new you.
Abilify, Wellbutrin, Seroquel, Rexulti. These are common drugs prescribed for depression. You may be able to get off the drugs and the endless counseling. You've heard about the revolutionary TMS therapy.
Now it's time to get a free consultation from HPR Centers.
And your frustration with life and relationships. In a few short weeks, your life will change. It's FDA cleared, safe, and it's covered by most insurance, including Blue Cross Blue Shield and Medicare. TMS therapy treats the cause of your depression. Millions have been treated. The results, nothing short of outstanding. HPR Centers are proud to bring TMS therapy to Chicagoland and Milwaukee.
You need to take the first step. Call.
The war on depression is over.
You win.
HPR Centers.
800-604-0208. 800-604-0208.
Go to endmydepression.com.
Sean Hannity is right. IRS problems can be devastating. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy, host of the IRS Radio Hour, heard right here on this station every Sunday evening at 5 o'clock. And I help business owners, 1099 employees, and those with unfiled tax returns solve their IRS problems. I know you want a local attorney you could look in the eye and hold accountable for solving your IRS problem, not some big box outfit without a Chicago connection. So if you fear the IRS will take your money, bank account, wages, or visit your home or job, and now they can take your passport, you need to hire me to solve your IRS problem for good. Today, I have a special bonus. If you are one of the first 25 to call and hire me to solve your IRS problem, we will prepare your 2017 tax returns for free. Call me, attorney Stephen Leahy, your Chicago IRS answer man at 312-664-6649. Again, that's 312-664-6649. One more time, 312-664-6649. Or visit us on the web at chicagotaxteam.com. Don't wait. Call me now and get the IRS out of your business and your life for good.
There's still time to make and keep that New Year's resolution to get your space organized. If you're tired of trying to find tools or equipment you know you have, then you need StoreLock. It's the best tool cabinet and modular system you'll ever buy. This is the year to finally get your garage or your business efficient and looking fantastic. Each StoreLock storage system includes custom dividers, liners, and layouts. And these systems are tough. Each drawer holds up to 400 pounds. They're made exact to order in the size and color you want and ships fully assembled. All StoreLock products are 100% USA made too, right here in Kankakee, Illinois, and have a 55-year unconditional guarantee. So get organized now. Visit StoreLock.com. That's STORLOC.com. See StoreLock in person. Click the events tab on StoreLock.com to find a trade show near you. That's StoreLock.com.
True story. So I urged one of my family members to call CertaPro Painters. He didn't do it, and that painting crew had to come back 3 times to fix their awful, sloppy mistakes, even paint on the floor, if you can believe it. Well, with CertaPro Painters, you get the best in the business. The attention to detail, color selection is truly unmatched. And now is the perfect time to get the interior of your home or business painted. The lower humidity provides an ideal environment for great coverage and quick drying times. They use fine quality paints with 0 or low VOCs, very little to no odor during application. Be an early bird and cross the first item off your 2018 to-do list. It's also the perfect time to spruce up your commercial property. Remember, each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, so schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. That's CERTA with the C. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
Message and data rates may apply.
You don't follow the herd. You blaze your own trail. And you're as adventurous in the kitchen as you are in life. Whether it's paddleboard yoga or Peruvian steak, you're the first to try new things. So are we. We're Green Chef, the first USDA-certified organic meal kit delivery service. We offer delicious meal plans for 7 different lifestyles: paleo, gluten-free, keto, vegetarian, vegan, carnivore, and omnivore. Want to be the first of your friends to try Green Chef? Discover our exclusive introductory deal by texting the keyword BITE to 543-543. We believe that cooking, just like life, should be all about experience and flavor. And by exploring dinner options with Green Chef, you'll try new recipes, techniques, and ingredients for bold, new restaurant-level flavors. It's like enjoying a new cooking class, but in your own home. To experience this culinary adventure, text now and discover our exclusive introductory deal. Text BITE to 543-543. That's BITE to 543-543.
If you have pain, listen up, Dennis Prager here. You don't need to live in pain. Let me repeat that. You don't have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst, whether it's from an accident or pain that just develops. So Chicagoland, you're in luck. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the nation's most respected and successful pain doctors. He's been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Bottom line, he's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off pain medication and all of its side effects. How? By finding the source of your chronic pain and fixing it.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. Let's make you pain-free.
Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain, and you can be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info you need at mypainchicago.com.
5:57. Let's get an update on the roads now in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the inbound Kennedy, we're now seeing delays out of the River Road toll to Canfield Road. It's 22 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound fine at 20. No delays to report yet on the Eden. Got Eisenhower tight, Manheim, Harlem. 33 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 30. On Stevenson, delays kick in at First Avenue. 40 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound fine at 34. Ryan, 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. Outbound 15. Bishop 4, 20 minutes, 8094 to the merge. Tollways are looking good. No delays to report on the rails right now, but Metra, as of this morning, has higher fares. Traffic is a service of TheraWorks Relief. To relieve muscle cramps in your legs and feet, use TheraWorks Relief. This fast-acting foam is clinically proven to relieve leg and foot cramps. TheraWorks Relief can also prevent muscle cramps. Get TheraWorks Relief today at select CVS and Rite Aid pharmacies or TheraWorksRelief.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer. The Dan and Kristen McCreary in for Amy this morning continues after a full update from Fox News and your official Chicagoland weather forecast with meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today breezy and much colder with some clouds, then sunshine, high 20. Clear and frigid tonight with a low 3. Full day of sunshine tomorrow, but cold with a high 21. Then a mostly cloudy night with a low 16. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 31 at O'Hare. The news is a service of Walgreens. Are you looking to save money on your Medicare Part D prescriptions? As a preferred pharmacy, Walgreens offers copays as low as $0 on Tier 1 generics on select plans. Switch your prescriptions and start saving today. Walgreens, trusted since 1901. 559. And in Chicago, here are the stories we're following this morning. Commuters paying more to ride Metro trains today. Fare hikes go into effect for most tickets and passes. 2 are dead following a shooting on Chicago's west side. 3 are in custody following a police chase and an officer-involved shooting in Harvey. 3 Illinois congressmen passengers on that Amtrak train involved in the fatal collision with a truck in Virginia, but none were injured. A new poll on the Democratic race for governor shows the biggest group of voters that haven't polled has not made up their mind. The Illinois Lottery Control Board chairman resigning after tweeting a vulgarity describing the Illinois community of East St. Louis. Bulls fell to the Trailblazers 124-108 last night. College hoops in the Valley, Bradley clipped first place Loyola. WIND Chicago News Time, 6 o'clock.
The FBI has grave concerns. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It's wary of the controversial memo the White House may allow to be public, alleging bias in the Russia investigation. There's also a new Democrat objection, and Fox's Rachel Sutherland is live in Washington.
Dave, Congressman Adam Schiff, ranking Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, claims changes were made to the memo before it was sent to President Trump. White House Chief of Staff John Kelly told the Brian Kilmeade radio show the document is under review.
Our national security lawyers in the White House that work for me, work for the president, they're slicing and dicing it, looking at it.
A spokesman for GOP Committee Chairman Devin Nunes says the edits were made to satisfy the FBI and Democrats. President Trump has the final say on whether the memo will be released. Dave.
Now, Rachel, the president just tweeted about going to West Virginia today to meet with Republican lawmakers, complaining Democrats are doing nothing but obstructing the day after the drama on the Republican lawmaker train ride to the retreat.
You hear that we hit a truck, and I'm thinking to myself, we have doctors on board, but there's no doctor in that truck.
Republican Senator Bill Cassidy among those doctors who rushed to help.
The fellow had facial trauma, trying to keep his tongue out and again, maintain airway. And I picked up his feet to try and get his blood going from his feet down to his heart and his brain.
That person survived. Another in the truck died. A third suffered less serious injuries. Just 8 days before the Olympics, some Russians might be making last-minute plans to go. Fox's Simon Owen live from our European bureau.
Dave, the top court for sport overturning drugs bans that have been imposed on 28 Russian athletes. The court saying this doesn't mean they're innocent, but that there's insufficient evidence of guilt. Olympic spokesperson Mark Adams expressing disappointment.
This may have a serious impact on the future fight against doping.
But the Russian government, which denies sponsoring a doping program, welcoming the ruling, saying Russia is not the only country that's had problems with cheats. Dave?
This is Fox News. Fair and balanced.
On AM 560, The Answer. Your opinion counts. And we want to know how you feel about the news stories we're talking about each and every day. Make sure to vote in the M13 Graphics Opinion Express poll at 560theanswer.com. Listen for today's poll question at 10:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m., and 3:30 p.m. And hear the results each evening at 5:30. It's the M13 Graphics Opinion Express poll on 560theanswer.com.
All money managers may seem pretty much the same. But while some money managers may recommend high commission investment products, Fisher Investments avoids them. Some money managers may have hidden and layered fees. Fisher Investments never does. And while some money managers are happy to earn commissions from you, whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're structured to be on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come to us from other money managers. Talk with us and find out why so many experienced investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments, clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan. And in for Amy this morning, who's a bit under the weather, is Kristen McQuarrie, Chicago Tribune editorial board. And Kristen, Mike's got reported just on the passing of White Sox and Yankees great Oscar Gamble, a rare tumor in his chin, and they jaw, excuse me, and they linked that potentially to his use of chewing tobacco, which is a lesson for you kids out there. Don't use chewing tobacco, unless you want to make it to the major leagues.
Well, what about all forms of tobacco, Mr. Cigar Chomper?
No, and I always say don't smoke cigars unless you want to be a refined gentleman. It's fine.
With cancer in your jaw at some point.
We're not living forever.
That's true.
Yeah.
Hey, we all got tickets up somewhere. Sometime.
You know what my attitude is? It's like the drunk on the porch in Kingpin, where Woody Harrelson's standing. When Woody Harrelson comes out, and he asks the guy, "How's life?" and the guy says, "It's taking forever." That's my attitude.
Okay.
All right. So how about this threatened teacher strike in West Chicago High School? Teacher strike, West Chicago High School. This is a story that repeats itself in your school district, friends and listening audience. So you may want to perk up your ears, because if it hasn't come to a school district near you recently, you can bet it will, particularly as the system gets closer and closer to seizing up. West Chicago High School District 129 teachers threatening to strike, demanding guaranteed salary increases of 17% in their new contract. I could stop there and just make that the centerpiece of the conversation.
Could you say it again? I need to hear that again.
But that wouldn't really give you the full complement of contextual information. Guaranteed salary increases of 17% for their new contract. West Chicago School District 94, 129 teachers in School District 94, excuse me. West Chicago School District 94 teachers currently pay between $48,000 and $99,000 base salary. According to our look at their contract, this is one of my outlets, DuPagePolicyJournal.com. You can find this, DuPagePolicyJournal.com. So for the 175 days, unionized public school teachers are paid that base salary, $48,000 to $99,000 at West Chicago High School. Private sector employee with 1 week paid vacation would work 255 days per year. So if you normalize teacher salary to the full year of work for private sector employees, it's equivalent of $70,000 for an entry-level teacher just out of college, and $145,000 for a teacher with a master's degree and 2 decades or more of experience. The median household income in West Chicago is $71,000. Median household income $71,000 in 2016, according to U.S. Census. The full-time equivalent, full-year equivalent base salary for an entry-level teacher at West Chicago High School is $70,000. The recently expired contract guaranteed West Chicago High School teachers base increases of between 2.75% and 5.5% over the 4 years of the contract, depending on seniority. The 17% they're demanding over the next 4 years, 4.25% a year. That is about 4 times the rate of inflation over the past 4 years.
It also, they also get step increases, I'm assuming. So
of course.
It's much higher than that. And CPI for the past 4 years, 1.6, 0.1, 1.3, 2.1.
Taxpayer-funded pension contributions. West Chicago taxpayers pick up virtually all the contribution teachers are required to make to their pension. So they're required to contribute 9% of salary, but taxpayers, per the contract, pick up 8.5% of the 9% they're required to contribute.
Wow, that's quite generous.
Uh-huh. Yeah. West Chicago high school teachers provide term life insurance equal to 1.5 times their annual salary, as well as disability insurance that would provide any teacher up to $5,000 a month if they were unable to work, also borne by taxpayers, the cost of these insurance programs. West Chicago taxpayers pay 80 to 85% of teacher health insurance premiums.
80 to 85%. I'm just slowing you down a little bit so we can absorb these numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
80 to 85% of the health insurance premiums for teachers paid by taxpayers. That's between $5,000 and $20,000 a year. Private sector employees, non-union private sector employees, pay 65% of their employer's health insurance premiums on average. So teachers at West Chicago are paying 15 to 20% for their health insurance premiums. People in the private sector, not a member of union, pay 65% or 4 times what the teachers pay, while paying for the teachers.
Got it.
Uh-huh.
How many residents in this district, I think this is West Chicago, Carroll Stream, are upset about their property tax bills, yet still want to stand with teachers?
100%.
Right.
I don't know. Probably. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. If you're on the West Chicago High School Board, would you say, I'll tell you what, teachers, you want 17% over 4 years? I'm not going to be the guy who's against kids' education. I'm going to go ahead, because the math doesn't matter, nobody cares. I'm going to give you 17% every year. Not 17% over 4, 17% every year, compounded.
Yep, compounded, definitely.
Absolutely. What about that?
This district,
Who wants to elect the improv governor now? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. See how easy it is to give away the store? Just give the people what they want, Kristen.
What they want. They're teachers. This is for the kids.
And by the way, you are of a family of teachers.
Yes. Yes.
So why do you hate your parents?
I think teachers, most teachers are paid fairly. I think there were pension promises and the compounded interest that were promised them that the state can't afford. And this district in particular was penalized by the state a few years ago because it violated the state law that was supposed to end pension spiking. Back in 2005, the legislature passed a bill. You can no longer keep rewarding your retiring teachers with 25, 26% pay increases to pad their pensions. If you go above 6% over 4 years, you will get penalized. This district did that.
Yeah, but here's the thing that you're not telling people. You're not telling people the performance that generated that premium.
Right.
All right?
It was worth it. It was all, that's what you're going to tell me.
Student performance. Yeah. Aren't you going to look silly when I tell you about the student performance? In 2017, 64% of West Chicago high school sophomores failed the statewide SAT exam. That's according to the Illinois State Board of Education. 2016, 80% of all West Chicago high school students who took the statewide PARCC exam failed it. That was actually 9 points worse than in 2015, when it was 71% who failed. Of last year's graduating West Chicago high school class, 16% were deemed college-ready in English and math, reading, and science as measured by the ACT. That was actually a decline from 2014. It's actually getting worse as the costs are going up. 305 students in the class, 64% enrolled in a college or university. 16% are prepared, 64% went to college.
Wow.
That also says something
about... A lot
about...
of bang for your buck there.
It says something about what's happening in higher ed, too. Now, of course, the majority went to open enrollment community colleges, which is fine. They have absolutely their place, and an increasing place, potentially, for your gen ed requirements. But, I mean, this is escalating prices and stagnant, if not declining, performance with... stagnant, if not declining, enrollment. We've talked about this before. By the way, 2016 per pupil spend, $18.7 per pupil.
Wow. I mean, this is a district that should be consolidated anyway. We're talking about just a single high school district with, I'm sure, its own superintendent and all the rest. You know what I hear a lot from? So there are a number of candidates running for higher office, running for the state legislature, who serve on school boards. And I always ask them about contract negotiations with teachers because and I hear the same answers as to why they're always awarding step increases and base salary increases that are far beyond what CPI is. Here are the reasons they give. Number one, our neighboring districts pay more.
Sure.
So
they learned in school that if your neighbor jumps off a cliff, you do as well.
Exactly. So they talk about the loss of teachers because neighboring districts are paying more. Then I ask them, do you have a problem filling slots? Or do you have a resume pile of really qualified candidates when you have a job opening come up? Well, actually, yeah, we don't know. How much do you pay your superintendent? They always talk about the need to have teachers sitting at the table and working with teachers and not piecing together the fact that these salary increases need to be combined with what they're paying into their pensions, as you mentioned, need to be combined with what they're paying into health care. And then don't come and complain about your property taxes. A lot of these same people are going to talk about they want a property tax freeze. The property taxes are so high. You're on the school board. You are the only thing between taxpayers and higher property taxes. You're it.
Right. Is it confusing to anyone? Is it surprising to anyone to learn that the majority of your property tax bill, upwards of 70 to 90%, depending on where you live, goes to your local schools? I mean, now we can have the conversation, which I do want to have. I know you want to have as well, Kristen, about changing the way we fund K through 12 education, particularly in the state. I'm fine with that. But in terms of understanding where we're at now and what you can do about it, you can curse the General Assembly all you want. It's largely a local problem.
It is. Your tax bill is determined by what your school district primarily is charging. And when these contracts come up, the annual cost, nobody ever asks, well, what's the annual cost of this contract of 17% plus the pension pickup plus? It's astronomical. And it's unsustainable unless you want to continue running people out of your district.
Well, here's the thing, too. And so let me do the stipulation up front that you have to do so we can have an intelligent conversation about this. So, because I don't want to hear from anybody who says, like, I'm pro-teacher and somebody who disagrees with me on math is anti-teacher. I'm not going to listen to it because it's juvenile. I believe that a great teacher is like a great artist. I really do. I had great teachers growing up. That's how I get paid a lot of money for this phony baloney job, working 4 hours a day on the radio, okay? And no matter what happens, no matter how bad Chicago Democrats make it, I'm always going to be okay because my parents sacrificed for me to get a good education provided by good teachers. So nobody is going to end run me or serious people that have, frankly, exponentially more intellectual chops than the combination of the intellects in public policy, in the public policy arena in this state. So that's so stipulated. Number two, I expect people to try and maximize their earnings. So this isn't vilifying anybody. It's saying this system is unfinanceable. You can't make the math work. Stephen Hawking can't make the math work. Nobody can make the math work. And three, as Kristen was pointing out, it's to say, wake up, Illinois families, stop falling for the demagoguery of blank check Democrats and Republicans and connect some fracking dots to the property taxes you pay and to the return you're getting for the fleecing you're taking. Okay? We got some ground rules now so we can try and have a smart conversation that you don't have in the General Assembly or virtually anywhere else, even in those forums full of deep thinkers and academics around the city. Peggy in Chicago. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, I discovered this program, Illinois Rising.
Yes,
and,
I've heard of it.
It just had a few salient facts, and I thought, oh, this is not good. They said there are 842 school districts in Illinois, which is a whole lot because each one has an administrator and they make about $200,000, and they may have 150 kids in a school. Well, how are you going to support an administrator on that number of students? It's going to be kind of tough. And then they said, well, there was a group, a board that came to Governor Rauner and said, well, we're going to have to fix up the the schools and stuff. And so we're going to charge each family in Illinois $1,500 more per year in taxes. And they said, well, isn't that $1,500? It's more than $150 a month. It's kind of a big chunk, just boom, more. And they said, well, what's it going to go for? Classrooms or, chalkboards or what, school books, what? He said, no, those are for the pensions.
Yeah.
For the administrators.
Thanks.
And I said, that's not good.
Thanks for the call, Peggy. Appreciate it.
Checks in the mail, Peggy, for the Illinois Rising plug from Dan.
Yeah. You can hear that Sundays at 3 p.m. on these airwaves. Thanks for the setup, Peggy. Mike on the north side.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for taking my call. First off, kudos to Kristen for asking the tough questions of Governor Gilligan. I can't call it a debate because all he did was make faces and blame Mike Madigan. The other candidate is the only one that offered any good solutions. But if we want to fix the schools, you have to look at all the costs associated. You just can't blame one group. I mean, you have buildings with multiple engineers. You have district superintendents making $300,000, deputy district superintendents making $150,000, multiple assistant principals. I mean, roofing contractors getting overpaid to patch a roof. No one should put it all on the teachers or the pensions unless they look at the whole thing. I mean, most of your money does not go into the classroom. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, agreed. Thanks for the call, Mike. No, don't disagree with that. And superintendents and administrative personnel were mentioned as well. Casper in West Chicago.
Hi, good morning, Dan.
Morning.
Yeah, I just want to say that when you say that everybody got what they wanted, and it's easy to have the support of that people, when you put the example of the teachers who have everything and they support the Democrat Party, why you don't say when President Trump give everything that the rich people wanted?
Hey, Casper. Casper, I'm talking now. Casper,
why
I'm
you
talking
don't
now.
do the
Casper,
same, analysis,
Casper.
fair analysis that you have to see the other side.
Casper, you're in West Chicago. Give me your...
I am West Chicago. Yeah,
Casper,
and I live in this country too.
I know you live in West Chicago. I'm familiar. I'm familiar that West Chicago is in this country.
I have $1 billion on debt because this guy give everything that the rich people wanted to have the support.
Are you done, Casper? May I talk? May I talk now? May I ask you a question on my show?
Okay.
You live in West Chicago. Give me a
I live in Chicago, and I live in this country too.
Give me your reaction to the West Chicago story and the potential teacher strike.
It's bad. Like it's bad this Trump giving everything to the rich people.
Thanks, Casper. Lewis in Texas, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Morning, guys. How you doing this morning?
Great.
Out here, I used to work for the school district out here in Texas, and I know out here the average teacher is getting about $55,000 to $60,000 a year starting off. Which, most people probably say, that's, kind of whatever the pay. But if you look at it, these teachers they're getting 2 weeks with the kids for Christmas off. They're getting the spring breaks. They're getting the summer vacations and all the rest of it. If you actually break it down, these teachers are probably getting somewhere between 4 to 4.5 months off throughout the school year, and they're making $55,000 to $60,000, grand a year, which when you look at it, to me, that's really good money because I know I don't get 4 months off and I'm a plumber. And, maybe if their statistics were better with these kids, I can understand them asking for a higher, pay increase. But if you have low performances in your school, you can't justify that by asking for more money.
Thanks, Lewis. I mean, look, we looked at this last week. Statewide, last 20 years, 5% increase in enrollment, 111% in spend, real dollars. What are we getting? Are we turning out better students than we were 2 decades ago? Not by the metrics. And even to the extent we are, 22 times enrollment growth. What are we paying for is the question. What's the return on this investment with, as Peggy was mentioning, after the 32% tax hike and the bailing out of Chicago and pouring more money and the hold harmless, which cannot be financed with without more tax increases. That's what you had Ronner Schools Chief Tony Smith suggest, $1,500 a household. another $7 billion in. For what?
Well, that's the problem. Is it never people want classroom sizes to be small. They want resources to go to the classroom, but there's never any attachment to the money. And we all know it goes to personnel. And the administration side is not guilt-free in these situations. I mean, the boards are elected. Like I said, that's the only stopgap that taxpayers have for any sort of protection, and that includes looking into administrative costs and really generous superintendent contracts and buyouts. I mean, look at what we have in higher ed. We just had the president or the courts uphold a $700,000 payout to the outgoing president in NIU. I mean, these are just ridiculous, astronomical, wrong contract buyouts. And I like you're saying earlier, people don't connect the dots. They complain about their property taxes. They want some sort of a property tax freeze, but they have bought into the idea that more money means better education. And they'll support the teachers in a town like West Chicago. They don't want to seem mean.
So what's the play? Is the play to do a pension pushdown and hold these local districts responsible for their unfunded pension liabilities, which would bankrupt just about every single one of them overnight?
I think on a going forward basis, yes, I do. You phase it in. Otherwise, like you're talking about the districts doing this pension pickup, it's one of the most underreported stories, I think, in education, is that these teachers aren't even paying in the 9%. In a lot of districts, maybe half of school districts statewide, local taxpayers are kicking in for their pensions, and then state taxpayers through their income tax are kicking in the rest. Who gets away with setting aside 1 or 1.5 or 2% into a retirement account that is then guaranteed and gets compounded interest?
I'll tell you what, people vote in the private sector voting for Democrats. Here's the bottom line. You hate your money. You hate your money in this state. John in Hobart, Indiana.
Hi, good morning, Dan and Amy. Love both of you guys. Amy, I'm actually working in your neighborhood, but I'm taking the day off.
Well, it's Kristen in for Amy today. She's taking the day off.
Yeah,
she's sick.
Amy's sick. Go knock on her door. Bring her an immune booster or something, or some chicken soup.
I'm working in her neighborhood. It's goofy over there, so now I understand how she behaves. But anyway, I went to private Catholic school my entire life. I put my kids through private Catholic school. We pay for that, but we're paying taxes to put other people's kids through school. And to be honest, I don't understand. I mean, Dan, like major education, I can understand that, but teach kids 2 and 2 is 4. I don't understand why I got to pay someone $60,000 a year. I could sit in the classroom. I mean, you wouldn't want me. I'm an iron worker, but
crack some skulls.
Yeah, you could have some. You could. I could get a girl right out of high school to teach kids 2 and 2 is 4 and how to read basic English. And then I work a lot in a lot of these Chicago public schools, putting up steel for new air conditioners or whatever. Half these kids, they were Kiwanis. They're reading that Kiwanis stuff at Christmas time. I thought religion can't be in school.
Kwanzaa,
it's the Chicago, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I'm thinking of the peanuts. But the whole Chicago public school system is a joke. And I don't know why we're paying for it. I left the city. I live in Indiana. I'd say just move. That's all I could tell anybody.
Thanks for the call, John.
So push back a little bit on that. Okay, teaching is not a piece of cake job.
No, it's not. And it's hard. It's harder now than it ever has been because of this integration of the family.
And district by district is very different. CPS and what it pays is very different than a suburban school and very different than a downstate school. I had a brother-in-law who taught in Rockford. He was not rolling in wealth. There are differences district by district and region by region.
That's what I'm saying. This is not an attack on teachers. This is to say this is a system that is unfinanceable. And it's unfinanceable. It's terrible results terrible to mediocre results at exorbitant prices. It's a system that doesn't produce what it promises to produce and just continues to eat through more money. For what?
Well, and two teachers who are in Tier 1, which is the most generous pensions available. We have 2 tiers in Illinois, Tier 1 and Tier 2. Unlike other states like New York, where over the years, when they realized the promises they made were a little overly generous, they created a new tier. And then they created another one. And I believe New York now, their teachers and their public employees are in 7 or 8 different tiers because they made adjustments as they went along. We haven't done that. We haven't even tried to run other proposals up the flag to the Illinois Supreme Court to see if maybe another model would work.
That's a good point.
We got shut down on the one pension reform bill that we sent, and we should be sending others up the flagpole, and we're not even doing that.
Mike in Palatine.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for taking my call. I just, follow up on the entire educational system is so bloated. In Palatine, we're rolling out, bilingual programs in the elementary school district level, starting off at kindergarten. The plan is to expand it to multiple schools, eventually multiple grades, I would suspect. The amount of dollars allocated per teacher in those programs is almost 50% higher than the regular curriculum. And then you have all these other embedded soft costs. I mean, it's been a long time since I was in school, but almost all of our teachers now have teacher aides. So they're getting paid more, but they're actually getting more help. And then when you add in all the soft costs, institute days, early dismissals, late starts, all these extra, days that they kind of negotiate in at the when they redo the contract. I mean, it's just it's out of control.
Thanks for the call, Mike. And don't forget in Palatine 211 too, you got to build all those new locker rooms to represent all of the gender choices.
And they have isn't that the school district where the board just approved a 10-year teacher contract and got a lot of pushback? 10 years. Who does that?
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Shoot Point Blank is Chicago's leading shooting range and firearms store. Featuring 20 climate-controlled shooting lanes, complete retail store, and firearm education classes for all experience levels. Whether you're a new or expert shooter, now you can experience the Shoot Point Blank difference and see for yourself why so many people are talking about Shoot Point Blank.
I can tell you, I was impressed as soon as I walked through the door. The employees were really helpful, very patient, and knowledgeable, too.
My wife and I had a wonderful experience. We felt very comfortable and informed.
Brett was very friendly and respectful, and he answered all my questions. Because I'm new to pistols, I'm grateful he was patient and helped me decide what to buy for my new firearm.
For a huge selection of new and used firearms, ammo, and state-of-the-art indoor shooting range, visit them in Hodgkins, Mokina, Naperville, or Merrillville. Or check out shootpointblank.com. Experience the difference. Shoot Point Blank.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Opportunity Project, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm Mark Gastineau. I played in the NFL for 10 years. I was diagnosed with CTE, with dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's. The fruits and vegetables that we take from Balance of Nature is the best thing that we could ever do. And I'm calling in now to order extra because of my wife has been taking mine because she sees a difference in me. It is a wonderful thing that Balance of Nature is doing. I hear the testimonies on the radio, but I'm a testimony for myself. And the fruits and vegetables, if I don't take them every single day, my day is not going to go the same. So God bless you, and thank you for what you've done for my wife and I.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up, Bobby Jindal, former Louisiana governor, had an interesting op-ed in the Wall Street Journal looking ahead to a post-Trump GOP. We'll review that and get reactions to the President's State of the Union address from Jonah Goldberg. National Review at 6:36, but now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
30 degrees, some clouds, and the Trump administration this morning extending protections for thousands of Syrian nationals living in the U.S. The Department of Homeland Security extending a temporary protected status program for another 18 months. That Republican memo reportedly detailing surveillance abuse at the FBI may be released today. Washington Post reporter Robert Costa explains why Republicans are going along with the release.
They're not really willing to have this huge intra-party fight at this time, but they're very concerned, and they keep telling us there's the red lines firing Mueller. Everything else they hope will just pass like a storm.
White House officials confirm it's likely the memo will be made public today. The investigation into yesterday's train crash involving several Republican lawmakers could take several days.
Over the next few days, our investigators will work on scene to thoroughly document the crash site and gather factual information. Our mission is to understand not only what happened, but why it happened.
One person died in yesterday morning's crash in Virginia. Fiat Chrysler CEO Sergio Marchionne backing up President Trump's remarks in the State of the Union this week, touting the automaker's moving production of heavy-duty trucks from Mexico to Michigan, and says that decision was made at the end of last year thanks to Congress.
I think when the tax reform package was passed and we were able to calculate the impact on us, we realized that it was worth probably about $1 billion in savings to us.
Chrysler workers are also getting a piece of that with several $1,000s in bonuses each. Republican Congressman Trey Gowdy of South Carolina believes it's time he does something more rewarding, announcing yesterday he's not seeking re-election. Additional water restrictions being put in place in Cape Town, South Africa. That area dealing with a water crisis. Years of drought have left that city with less than 90 days' worth of water in its reservoirs. Commuters will be paying more to ride Metra trains today. Fare hikes go into effect for one-way tickets and monthly and weekend passes. Two are dead following a shooting on Chicago's west side. But police say the victims were shot in the head last night sitting in a vehicle in the 4700 block of West Arthington. Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx accuses her predecessor, Anita Alvarez, of ignoring complaints of sexual harassment in her office. In a book, Foxx claims a former division chief was known for looking up women's skirts and saying he wanted his own female interns. She says she tried to get that man fired, but he was apparently good friends, according to Foxx, with Alvarez. Foxx is among 17 women in politics who detail in the book how they battled sexism, harassment, and misconduct on the job. 4 Carson Peary Scott stores in Chicagoland will be closing this spring. The department store chain Bon-Ton announcing it will close the Streets of Woodfield and Schaumburg store along with Riverside Plaza in Chicago and clearance centers in Aurora and Morton Grove. All told, 7 Carson stores around the state will close. Bulls fell to the Trailblazers 124-108 last night. College hoops in the Missouri Valley, Bradley took down first place Loyola 69-67. The news, a service of Accountemps. Finding highly skilled accounting and finance pros can be a challenge. Accountemps can help. With Accountemps' extensive network of accounting and finance contractors, you can be sure to find the right person for your exact hiring needs. Visit Accountemps.com to learn more. Accountemps, a Robert Half company. 6:36 is our time. Check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The flu is getting around this time of year, but fortunately, MedExpress is open 8 to 8 every day. Just walk into one of our warm, welcoming centers to get the care you need. MedExpress Urgent Care.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Amanda Zanger, owner of Black Industrial and Safety Supply in Hammond, Indiana, and a business customer of Signature Bank. Prior to owning my own business, I worked for a major financial institution. So when it came time to finance the acquisition of Black, I approached a big bank, only to receive a solid no. That's when Signature Bank stepped in. With Signature Bank, the process was different. Signature provided creative financing options that enabled me to purchase Black and continue to grow the business. Thanks to Signature Bank, Black Industrial is able to continue serving Fortune 500 industry fabricators and contractors with tools and safety supplies as we have since 1893.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
6:38, and let's get a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Inbound Eden's heavy Niles Center to Montrose, 23 minutes. Lake Cook Junction outbound 19. Kennedy, 36 minutes. O'Hare to downtown outbound 24. The Eisenhower is 45 minutes, 390 to downtown outbound 32. Stevenson now 50 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 36. Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Bishop Ford, 25 minutes, 8094 to Ryan. Tollway delay northbound Tri-State. Tight from the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower. Traffic as a service of TheraWorks Relief. To relieve muscle cramps in your legs and feet, use TheraWorks Relief. This fast-acting foam is clinically proven to relieve leg and foot cramps. TheraWorks can also prevent muscle cramps. Get TheraWorks Relief today at select CVS and Rite Aid pharmacies or at TheraWorksRelief.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte. AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. A breezy day ahead, much colder throughout the day. Clouds in the morning, sunshine by the afternoon, high near 20. Clear and frigid, a low of 3 above overnight. It's 30 right now, but temperatures are tumbling throughout the day. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan, and filling in for Amy this morning, Kristen McCreary on AM 560, The Answer.
Watch today's show live right now on the Income Store live video stream at 560theanswer.com.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, we're losing Trey Gowdy, but he is not going gently into that good night. Trey Gowdy, the other day on Fox and Friends, on the whole release the memo that is going to be released, it doesn't appear that President Trump is going to stand in the way of House Republicans' desire to make the Nunes memo available to the public, as the president so indicated to Representative Jeff Duncan on the way out of the chamber after the State of the Union address the other night. Trey Gowdy suggesting that the protestations of the FBI notwithstanding, the protestations of the Democrats notwithstanding, there's good reason to release it, and there's good reason why the likes of an Adam Schiff are afraid to have it released.
Look, my Democrat colleagues didn't want us to find this information. They did everything they could to keep us from finding this information, so of course they don't want us to share.
Will it be embarrassing to them?
I think it'll be embarrassing to Adam Schiff once people realize the extent to which he went to keep them from learning any of this. So that would be the embarrassment.
Go ahead. What do you mean? By that?
I mean, going to court to help Fusion GPS, so we can't find out that they paid for the dossier, and that they were working for the DNC. That's a pretty big step to go to court to try to keep the American people from learning something. So look, if it were up to Adam Schiff, you wouldn't know about Hillary Clinton's email. You wouldn't know about the server. You wouldn't know who paid for the dossier. So I do find it ironic that he has his own memo now, because if it were up to him, we wouldn't know any of it.
Yeah, Adam Smith was more useful. Adam Schiff, excuse me. Certainly not Adam Smith. It could be further apart. More useful back in Area 51 looking for signs of intelligent life on other planets. For more on this topic, also want to give him the opportunity to ridicule JK3, Joe Kennedy III, and his Vaseline-induced
what was it? Did we ever find out?
We're pleased to be joined by Jonah Goldberg. He is, of course, National Review and LA Times columnist, the author of many bestsellers, Liberal Fascism, The Tyranny of Cliches, and others. Jonah, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, great to be here. Thank you.
So what about what Gowdy had to say, as well as what Paul Ryan said the other day about the legitimate reasons that this memo should be released for public consumption, despite some of the concerns the FBI has about alleged material omissions?
Yeah, I'll just be honest, I'm in the position of basically thinking that nobody has colored themselves with glory here. I think the memo should be released. I think Schiff's memo should be released. I think the underlying information should be released pending a review where you can, redact the really dangerous parts. I think the FISA warrant applications that may or may not have contained stuff from the Steele dossier should be released. Release it all. Everyone is playing games here. Everyone is trying to get their message through and shut up everybody else's message. I don't think I know Devin Nunes. He's a friend of mine. I don't think he has handled this particularly well. I think Trey Gowdy is one of the only guys who has tried to keep his head held high and be able to look himself in the mirror. I don't think Adam Schiff gets nearly the credit for being such an unbelievably talented partisan hack while seeming like he is above the fray. I mean, literally not since Tom Daschle have we seen someone who takes that sort of more in sorrow than in anger, I'm just here to help the American people, yada, 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 BS, while he carries more water for the Democrats than Gunga Din.
Can I add a nominee to that description?
Sure.
Right here from the land of Lincoln, Dick Durbin.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Dick Durbin, the problem with Dick Durbin is that what Adam Schiff does, Adam Schiff never says anything that is transparently and obviously stupid. You have to think it through and see what he's doing. He's very clever. He's very much like Bill Clinton was. He's sort of like Bill Clinton was without the charm, where you really have to listen closely to see how he's being a partisan hack. Sometimes Dick Durbin can alert the listener quite easily because he says really dumb things out loud.
You've given this.
So when he said that, look, I don't like what Donald Trump said about blank hole countries and all that, but when Dick Durbin said this was the single most disgraceful thing ever uttered in the Oval Office. I mean, that is incandescently stupid. Lord knows what Andrew Jackson said in there, but Woodrow Wilson screened Birth of the Nation in the White House. Richard Nixon went on big, long jags about the Jews and the gays. Lyndon Johnson dropped N-words more than rap stars do. So, get a grip here. Meanwhile, Adam Schiff never says anything that incredibly stupid, but he is incredibly partisan.
No, that's you've given this a lot more thought than I have, and I will defer to your expertise in this area. You've made a strong case for Adam Schiff.
I think, though, that Jonah's case is what I was trying to make a case earlier, but of course Jonah does it more eloquently, that this is going to turn out to be a lot of sizzle and not a lot of steak, that there are a lot of things alluded to in the memo, but it's coming from such a subjective vantage point that it will be easy to shoot down in the end. That's what I think. Don't you agree, Jonah?
Yeah, no, I think that's right. And I think, look, I'm of the school that says what Hillary Clinton did with her emails and her server was outrageous. And she should have been, she should have faced the fire for that back then. She never should have been the Democratic Party nominee. People forget how outrageous it was to have a party nominee for president under FBI investigation in the first place. I think the Obama administration behaved abysmally. I'm not sure what to make of the Steele dossier stuff. Fine. The thing that bothers me coming from the Republicans about all of this isn't any of that. By all means, go after that stuff, investigate, do it honestly, but go after it. What bothers me enormously is the sort of Sean Hannity caucus, which makes this case that all of this stuff invalidates and impugns Robert Mueller's investigation. It doesn't. They're separate lanes.
Yeah.
The lines don't converge. Robert Mueller was in private practice when all of these things happened. He was appointed by Republicans to run the FBI. He's a patriot, a veteran, and the people that are implicated by some of this stuff in terms of the Mueller investigation, these are all Donald Trump appointees in the Trump administration. The idea that you can say what you want about Jim Comey, it does not impugn the integrity of Robert Mueller. And for a lot of people on my side, what they're doing, I think, is fundamentally dishonest, which is they're trying to raise an incredible amount of drama at very high speeds, so you can't see the lines because they're all blurred. All distinctions are blurred. And they are trying to do to Robert Mueller what Democrats did to Ken Starr. And I think it's dishonorable. And I think, and I don't think it'll work, which is one of the reasons why I think it's really dumb. Because you're going to do all of this stuff, and at the end of the day, Robert Mueller is going to issue a report, and it's going to say what it's going to say. Maybe it'll clear Donald Trump. Maybe it'll, get some lower fish. Maybe they'll have problems for Donald Trump himself. I don't know, but I'm willing to wait and see.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't also exclude the notion that there are problems in justice and at FBI, mostly with personnel that are holdovers, some of whom are now gone, like Comey, like McCabe. But obviously Rosenstein has been mentioned, Bruce Orr at Justice, obviously Strzok and Page. I mean, there are material problems at FBI and Justice with actual human beings who had important roles in these investigations and perhaps were disingenuous, if not worse, with respect to surveilling political opponents, surveilling.
I agree.
So I'm just saying that's a legitimate concern. I'm not trying to conflate.
Yeah, I stipulate it's a legitimate concern. I think it might be overblown. I'm not sure.
Right.
That's why I want everything released.
Right.
It doesn't affect the Mueller investigation, which I think is the real objective of a lot of people, is to raise all of this smoke so that eventually it engulfs the Mueller investigation too. The one person where there's the lines do cross is this guy Strzok.
Yeah.
And, the second who literally worked on the Mueller investigation for like 5 weeks at the very beginning of it. The idea that he had a huge influence, which you'll hear from a lot of sources on the right, is nonsense. And the second Robert Mueller found out about what he was texting and found out about the affair and found out about his bias, he canned him or he got rid of him. So the one storyline which everyone wants to make a big deal, and they every single new fact they swing for the fences on like it's a home run. This is the smoking gun. Secret society, dear Lord, stock up on bottled water. And it turns out it's nonsense. This one guy where there's overlap is Strzok, and Mueller did the right thing, which is get rid of him. It should be, it should be. That whole Strzok Page text storyline should make us have more confidence in what Mueller is doing, not less, because the second he found out about it, he did the right thing.
Well, if this memo is going to be underwhelming, or it's not going to live up to some of the hype, not everybody's hyping. We talked to Peter Roskam yesterday; he's not hyping it, but some people certainly are. Then maybe the play for Trump politically is to say, give the Democrats what they want again, like he kind of sort of did on immigration. Here you go, take it. And it kind of puts them back in a corner. I won't have the memo released. I'll just let the American people's imagination run wild about what's in it and let both sides continue to demagogue it.
That's entirely possible. I mean, look, the Republicans want to get a lot of credit for doing this through proper channels and not leaking this thing. And, they're declassifying it the right way. And I think that's an interesting and good argument on the face of it. But on the other hand, if this was really if it contained what it really contained, someone would have leaked it already. And so it feels to me like this is very much a PR campaign. I'm not saying there's no substance to any of it, but just get it all out there. Let the American people decide. Release everything but the nuclear codes, the knock list, the minutes of the Egg Council, whatever. But other than the stuff that's truly vital national security, right? Troop movements and all that kind of stuff, just friggin' release everything at this point, because these innuendo wars are bad for the country.
There was a tweet yesterday, or I don't know, you may have seen it. I don't remember who, but they said they've never seen journalists be more careful about getting more information. That you have all these journalists now. Oh, if this is classified, we need to go through all these very careful dotting of the I's and crossing of the T's, when at every other moment they have been clamoring to report things with unsubstantiated sources and this person close to the investigation says. And here, all of a sudden, in this moment, are kind of backtracking on that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that entirely. I mean, I wrote a little thing about this the other day on the site. I mean, the press's position on this, that all of a sudden they are, fleeing to their fainting couches at the idea of classified information being released that might harm the government, or harm national security.
Oh my!
When they've been in the they drank from the fire hose of Chelsea Manning's leaks, right? They loved all that stuff. They have no problem leaking all sorts of damaging information. Now, some responsible news organizations will negotiate with the government about how they're going to leak and what they'll redact and all that kind of stuff. But, the idea, like, if this memo, if BuzzFeed had its hands on this memo, it wouldn't put up a PDF of the whole thing today. It's ludicrous. And, the Republicans control the House and the Senate. The Republicans control the pertinent, executive branch agencies. They control the right committees. They have more right by orders of magnitude to release information than the New York Times ever will. But the New York Times can't get its head around the idea that somehow someone is eating out of their food bowl and releasing classified information on their terms. Now, I may not like the way the Republicans are doing it, but they have every right to do it and pay the political price for it if people think, they did it for illegitimate or bad reasons, but not illegal reasons.
Well, I'll tell you what, look, I'm glad we got agreement that the memo should be released and the minutes of the Ed Council should not be. All right, so that's progress. Jonah Goldberg, National Review and LA Times columnist, author of Liberal Fascism, The Tyranny of Cliches, and others. You can always get his stuff at nationalreview.com. Jonah, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Great to be here. Thank you.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Wages and benefits rose last year. Apple acknowledges the government is investigating its slowdown of old iPhones. And Boeing stock is flying high. Those stories next.
You like freedom? I do. You like money? Well, I do too. If you like freedom and money, then you're going to love Freedom Checks. You see, over the next few months, an estimated $34.6 billion is up for grabs to anyone who stakes their claim. Yep, you heard that right. $34.6 billion. To get all the details, just go to www.claimfreedomchecks.com. Thousands of people are already lined up to cash in. Take Doug, for example. He's a 46-year-old from Joplin, Missouri, who's set to get a check for $24,075. And if Doug can do this, I've got a hunch that you can too. But here's the thing. If you want the chance to grab your full fair share of this $34.6 billion payout, you must have your ducks in a row by March 1st. So don't wait. Get over to www.claimfreedomchecks.com before the March 1st deadline. That's www.claimfreedomchecks.com.
Workers' wages and benefits rising almost 3% last year. The Labor Department reporting it was the fastest 12-month pace since the spring of 2015. Apple acknowledging it's cooperating with the federal government inquiries into a secret slowdown of older iPhones. The Justice Department and SEC investigating how investors have been affected by Apple's handling of the situation. Apple has since apologized for not being more forthcoming, more transparent, and is replacing batteries on older iPhones, well, not for free, but at a discount. Boeing's latest quarterly earnings topping Wall Street targets. As a result, Boeing stock up on the day nearly 5%. The aerospace giant has been the biggest gainer in the Dow over the past year. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
It's going to happen. You're going to need a plumber. And when you do, choose AHS Plumbing and Sewer. Always honest service. That's what they stand for. Their team has over 25 years experience in the plumbing, drain, and sewer care business. If you have drains backing up, water leaks, or basement flooding, call AHS Plumbing and Sewer to solve your issue quickly and permanently. Serving Lake County, Illinois and North Cook County. Over 700 Angie's List reviews and dozens of awards. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. AHS Plumbing specializes in all types of drain and sewer care, including flood control. They're the company people know, like, and trust to care for their homes. Not the biggest, simply the best. Licensed, bonded, and insured, ready to serve your plumbing, drain, and sewer care needs in Lake County, Illinois and North Cook County. Need a plumber? Call AHS Plumbing and Sewer. Call Dan the Plumber at 847-636-2124. That's 847-636-2124. Online at ahsplumbing.com. ahsplumbing.com.
Hey guys, Ken here from the hit podcast Today's Growth. Who would win a 3-mile bicycle race, an 11-year-old girl or last year's winner of the Tour de France? It all depends on the bicycle. It depends on their vehicle. Both on a 10-speed and the pro racer is going to win every time. But put the racer on a tricycle and the 11-year-old wins every time. You see, it's not the driver, it's the vehicle. When it comes to generating revenue, it's exactly the same. If you have a job or a small business, you are riding a tricycle. You can only go so fast. If you need to make up lost ground, it's not going to happen on a tricycle. No matter how fast you pedal, it's simply not going to win the race. Why do many people with no schooling and no advanced degree often become very wealthy? Simple. They choose to only ride 10 speeds. When it comes to helping people create their next revenue model, both Forbes and Inc. recommend Income Store as a can't miss when it comes to putting people on a 10-speed. Could your household or business use an additional revenue model that doesn't solely depend on you? If so, you need to check out IncomeStore.com. That's IncomeStore.com.
If you still haven't purchased the very best pillow, of course I'm talking about MyPillow, the 4-pack deal is back. So I strongly urge you to go online or call now to make sure you take advantage of this great deal. A great night's sleep is so important, so give yourself the gift of a great night's sleep by ordering a MyPillow. By using the promo code Amy, you'll get the absolute best deal available anywhere. The MyPillow 4-pack deal includes 2 premium MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows at 50% off. I love that I can move the fill to get the support I need, regardless if I sleep on my back or side. I never wake up with a stiff neck or headache. And MyPillow is made in America, washable and dryable, hypoallergenic, and has a 10-year warranty plus a 60-day money-back guarantee. So get your 50% off the 4-pack in February by calling 800-489-0201, use the promo code Amy, or visit MyPillow.com. That's 800-489-0201, promo code Amy.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Krista McQuarrie from the Chicago Trib Ed Board in for Amy this morning, who's a little under the weather, so send her your positive thoughts. Coming up at 7:07, we're going to talk to Michael Barone from the Washington Examiner about this Bobby Jindal op-ed, former Louisiana governor, who suggests that Trump is a man, not a movement, and what is the GOP to look like and what should it do, already thinking ahead past Donald Trump. We'll have that discussion with Michael Barone after we check the headlines with Michael Scott.
An 11-year-old boy shot in an East Side neighborhood will have the Chicago police investigation update. Metro fares going up and into effect, those fare hikes today. A serial stowaway will remain in custody. A fake bomb was tossed into a tobacco shop in Marionette Park. Rauner's State of the State review. Blazers hammered the Bulls. WIND Chicago News Time is 7 o'clock.
Will we get to read the memo? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The FBI hopes not. Wary of the classified content, saying it has grave concerns. House Republicans want it public. Fox's Rachel Sutherland, live in Washington.
Dave, the memo could be made public as soon as today. White House Chief of Staff John Kelly told the Brian Kilmeade radio show lawyers are combing the document over.
It'll be released here pretty quick, I think, and the whole world can see it.
The top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff, claims material changes were made to the memo before it went to the White House. Republicans say the only changes made were to correct grammatical errors and to satisfy the concerns of the FBI. Republicans who have read the document say it shows the FBI used the Steele dossier to get a warrant to spy on the Trump campaign. Dave?
Rachel, a mangled truck and garbage still littered the scene of yesterday's collision with a train full of Republican lawmakers headed to a retreat. Some were doctors who rushed to help.
I looked to the right, and there's a body there that looks like he's dead. But Dr. Phil Rowe was there, a congressman from Tennessee. My wife approached and others. There's an attempt to revive, but he was dead. I mean, that was pretty clear.
GOP Senator and Dr. Bill Cassidy helped a critically injured man. A third was also hurt. Federal investigators are in Crozet, Virginia, trying to figure out why they crashed. President Trump will address that lawmaker retreat today in West Virginia. He just tweeted, "Thank you to those who praised his State of the Union address." Many Democrats, not among them. Congresswoman Maxine Waters told BET,
"He is a dangerous, unprincipled, divisive, and shameful racist."
Now, the president tweeted 45.6 million people watched, the most ever. Well, that's not true. More people watched President Obama's first State of the Union in 2010. Now, this one was the highest rated on cable news ever. A Florida man who robbed a bank last year, then stripped naked after the dye pack exploded, running down a street throwing money in the air, found not guilty by reason of insanity. Alexander Sperber will remain jailed getting mental health treatment. Fox News. Fair and balanced.
30 degrees in Chicago. Winds from the west at 10 at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Commuters will pay more to hop the train today. Metro fare hikes go into effect. One-way tickets, monthly passes, all go up in all zones. No one is in custody following a shooting that seriously wounded an 11-year-old boy on Chicago's East Side neighborhood. Child was in a home near East 103rd and South Avenue when someone fired shots into the residence. Two are dead following a shooting on Chicago's west side. Both victims shot in the head last night. They were inside of a vehicle in the 4700 block of West Arthington. Three are in custody following a police chase and officer-involved shooting in Harvey. Authorities say officers began chasing several suspects who were running from the scene of a crash near 148th and Dixie Highway. In his State of the State address, Governor Rauner called for cooperation. AM 560's David Stewart explained.
Governor Rauner told the General Assembly there's much to accomplish working together, but he also accused lawmakers of dragging their feet on issues like pension reform.
Most lack the courage to break with the status quo so we can change our path to the future.
Senate President John Cullerton said it's Rauner who has failed to lead.
What the state needs is a governor to take charge, engage, and do the job, and that just hasn't happened.
Rauner plans to unveil what he promises will be a balanced budget in a few weeks. David Stewart, NBC News Radio, Chicago.
Several Chicago police officers are accused of ripping off drug dealers. The Tribune reporting that officers have been stripped of their police powers while the FBI and Chicago police investigate the allegations. The woman known as a serial stowaway remains jailed following her arrest last weekend at O'Hare. Cook County judge ordering Marilyn Hartman held without bond yesterday while doctors perform a psychiatric exam. Bulls fell to the Trailblazers 124-108 last night, and they're not risking anything with Nikola Mirotic, the forward, who says he will not play as the Bulls look to trade him before the February 8th trading deadline. The news is a service of Lowe's. At Lowe's Pro customers, you can save 5% on every purchase every day when you use your Lowe's Business Credit account. That's 5% on all purchases in-store or online, subject to credit approval, U.S. only. 7:04, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Message and data rates may apply.
You don't follow the herd. You blaze your own trail. And you're as adventurous in the kitchen as you are in life. Whether it's paddleboard yoga or Peruvian steak, you're the first to try new things. So are we. We're Green Chef, the first USDA-certified organic meal kit delivery service. We offer delicious meal plans for 7 different lifestyles: paleo, gluten-free, keto, vegetarian, vegan, carnivore, and omnivore. Want to be the first of your friends to try Green Chef? Discover our exclusive introductory deal by texting the keyword BITE to 543-543. We believe that cooking, just like life, should be all about experience and flavor. And by exploring dinner options with Green Chef, you'll try new recipes, techniques, and ingredients for bold, new restaurant-level flavors. It's like enjoying a new cooking class, but in your own home. To experience this culinary adventure, text now and discover our exclusive introductory deal. Text BITE to 543-543. That's BITE to 543-543.
Old Man Winter is here, and you'll need a heating and cooling company you know you can depend on. Look no further. That company is the original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling. They're not one of those massive impersonal companies with inexperienced technicians and subcontractors. Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling sends only their own highly skilled technicians. From service to installation and everything in between, their work quality and customer service is the best. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling keeps homes and businesses comfy and warm. Call Carrie at 847-545-1700 or visit ArlingtonHeightsHeatingandCooling.com. Mention AM 560 and receive 20% off your first service call. That's Carrie at 847-545-1700 or online at ArlingtonHeightsHeatingandCooling.com. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling, not the biggest, just the best.
All money managers may seem pretty much the same. But while some money managers may recommend high commission investment products, Fisher Investments avoids them. Some money managers may have hidden and layered fees. Fisher Investments never does. And while some money managers are happy to earn commissions from you, whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're structured to be on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come to us from other money managers. Talk with us and find out why so many experienced investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments, clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
7:07 and a check of your morning ride to work. In the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. In Willowbrook, crash on 63rd at 83. Inbound Edens has delays starting at Peterson. 25 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 22. Inbound Kennedy, delays start at Canfield. 42 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 20 from Montrose, 18 in the Express. Outbound 14 minutes to Montrose, 30 to O'Hare. On Eisenhower, heavy 25th to Costner and Kedzie to the Circle. 50 minutes, 390 to downtown, outbound 35. Mount Stevenson, 54 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, 42 from the Tri-State. Outbound 36 minutes to 355. Mount Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 20 minutes, I-80 to the Merge. Division Ford, 40. Northbound Tri-State, delays are from 87th to 47th. The Reagan Tollway most of the way to North Avenue. Northbound Veterans Memorial, little slow approaching the Reagan Tollway. The other tollways are fine. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Some clouds followed by sunshine today, becoming much colder with temperatures falling into the teens from a high today of 20. Wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour. Wind chill values as low as 0 to 10 below zero. Clear and frigid tonight with a low of 3. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Temperatures dropping now 29 at O'Hare. Next news 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Empowered Investing, the show dedicated to investors. Heard Saturdays at noon right here on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning, Kristen McQuarrie, she of the Chicago Tribune editorial board. And Kristen, I hadn't had the opportunity to get your reactions to the president's State of the Union address the other night. Don't know if you were making faces like Nancy Pelosi, but
who needed a toothpick apparently or something.
It was a fix-it-and-forget-it problem.
Oh, a fix-it-and problem. Okay.
Yeah,
it's hard to tell with her because there's been a lot of, her face kind of looks like Elmer glue. It's hard to figure out what's going on up here.
She has that constant look on her face like she just flipped on the porch light and there's a raccoon there.
A drunk raccoon.
Right, she's kind of like startled. Yeah, which is not a bad look.
Tipsy raccoon. She just also... I don't know. Okay, we could talk about her later. Overall, the speech, so I watched it just as a peanut gallery person. I wasn't writing off of it. I wasn't taking notes. And I thought it was a really compassionate speech. We had compassionate conservatism of the Bush era. This felt like compassionate nationalism coming from Trump. So there, you can steal that. I'm coining a phrase for you.
No, thank you. I think it worked. All of the stories that he told through the guests that he invited, it worked because the threats that their stories represented are real, and they make for heroes, and unfortunately, they make for victims too. But I think that think about the underlying issues that are associated with the stories that were told, the escape from totalitarian regimes. Murderous totalitarian regimes, the North Korean kid with the crutches, which is an unbelievable story, unbelievable moment. The soldier in the theater of battle who saves his brother in arms in Raqqa. The two families who lost children to violent, illegal immigrant criminals who shouldn't be in this country. The opioid issue and the heroic couple from Albuquerque who adopted a baby from a mother who was a heroin addict. Obviously, and going back to North Korea, Otto Warmbier's family. So all of those threats are real, and they produce heroes, too few heroes, I guess, and too many victims. But I think that's why they have resonance.
Well, that's true, but I would say, every State of the Union address has someone sitting in the gallery that gets a shout out.
Ever since Lenny Skutnik
in 1980 something.
3.
and he was, what was his story?
They jumped into the Potomac.
Saved a woman from Isaac. So those stories have existed, and of course you have your staff trying to find the most compelling stories. But I think Trump also deserves credit for just his delivery.
Yeah,
there was something very authentic about each of those stories that he wove into the speech. And so this is his best format. Don't we wish he had this foot forward all the time?
I think he's got a career doing books on tape after this, and not just Art of the Deal either. Now, here's the thing about just in terms of Nancy Pelosi scowling and Democrats sitting on their hands, they couldn't even bring themselves to number one, stand up and respect the two families, minorities who lost daughters to MS-13 murderers, and the families didn't appreciate that. By the way, they noticed.
Well, so did the entire country.
Well, true.
I mean,
yes, of course. And then Black Caucus can't bring itself to applaud low black unemployment. It's just bizarre.
And the idea that if you did stand up, if you broke from your party, traitor, at risk of possibly losing a seat, that is just how paralyzed and ridiculous and frankly embarrassing the state of politics has become. And here's what I don't get about Nancy Pelosi. Okay, there are actual thoughtful progressives who could be the face of your party, and instead the choice is this plastic, San Francisco-based jet setter, fake nails, plastic surgery addict, senior citizen Barbie. I really don't get it. I would actually prefer, and I hate to even have to say this, but I would prefer an Elizabeth Warren even being more of the face of the progressive movement, because I know it's
a lot of low cards in that hand. I got you.
I know, but do you see what I'm saying? She rose to prominence because she's good at fundraising from the beginning of her career. If you go back and look over her biography,
well, she's also a product of machine politics in Baltimore.
Yes, exactly. Right. So this is the face of your party, this entitled, born into wealth person, which is the mantra of the left. I don't get it. And so at all of these events, when she does in fact just play this role and sit there, and then at the end she literally reads off some sheet that her staff writes for her. She doesn't even read it ahead of time. And that's her reaction to the speech. It's so thoughtless.
Well, she's the perfect representative of the hypocrisy and thoughtlessness of the progressive left, I guess. So that kind of they inadvertently stumbled into an insight with her. And by the way, her scowls on Tuesday night took verbal form yesterday.
It was a very transformative speech for some of us last night, because while our expectations for greatness and vision with the president are not high, he stooped to a new low in terms of how he dealt with issues. For example, the immigration issue and what it has meant to our country and how he characterized. The president presents himself as generous toward dreamers, but he's holding them hostage to the most extreme anti-immigrant agenda in generations. We heard more insulting words of ignorance and prejudice toward patriotic immigrant families last night. President Trump's first years in office has been a wasted opportunity in meeting the needs of the American people. Again, he had an opportunity for unity. We always are hopeful for that. Instead of a hand of friendship, as some have said, he presented a clenched fist. Clenched fist.
Come on, get it out. Get it out.
That's what I mean. She doesn't even rehearse what she's about to say before she goes on national.
Let's give her credit. There was about 7 leftist bromides that she strung together in that 57 seconds. That's not easy to do.
She had to work her breathing into getting that all out in one sentence.
It was pretty good. Sarah Sanders, White House spokesperson, had some advice for Nancy Pelosi.
I think Nancy Pelosi looks like that all the time. I think she should smile a lot more often. I think the country would be better for it. She seems to kind of embody the bitterness that belongs in the Democrat Party right now.
I prefer scowling, as you know.
Well,
so I'm not going to pick on her for scowling.
Yeah, but I mean, her smile lights up her room. You know, I mean, wouldn't it be
if her dentures are on correctly?
Yeah, I think Sarah Sanders is on to something. So let me ask you this question: moving beyond the State Union address, it was well done, well constructed, and well executed by the president. And by the way, most people who observed it suggested as much. Even people who I don't think voted for Trump or don't care for Trump. I mean, the one CBS poll with it 3-1 in terms of positive reviews of the speech. But more importantly, this Bobby Jindal op-ed in the Wall Street Journal. I mean, we're not even to the midterms. I'm already looking ahead to Trump, but you have to be forward-looking in any organization because your leadership is only going to be there for a time. What's the underlying structure, direction, wherewithal of the organization? And that's sort of what Jindal takes up. Mr. Trump is clearly a one-man show, sticking his finger in the dike to hold back liberalism's flood, while both parties seemingly learn nothing and try to wait him out. Mr. Trump is a man, not a movement. He embodies executive strength, not a philosophy. When his time in office is up, he may leave behind millions of frustrated, voiceless people facing a status quo government and two limp, self-serving political parties eager to return to what they were, which wasn't much. So it's not like Jindal is rallying to the defense of the establishment. He's not. He's not an establishment Republican figure. I think it's an interesting insight he provides. He goes on to prescribe this. The Trump movement should and can be bigger than him. Now that elite Democrats have renounced the blue-collar working-class voters who supported them as recently as 2012, Republicans must learn to consolidate and build on that base. We need to take over and reinvent the GOP. Mr. Trump won't be the man to do it. We should create a more populist, Trumpian, bottom-up GOP that loves freedom and flies the biggest American flag in history, shouting that American values and institutions are better than everybody else's and essential to the future. I think this op-ed is I mean, Bobby Jindal is a very lucid thinker, not a great candidate at the national scale, but he's a smart guy, and he's a lucid thinker, and it's good to have people that are looking forward. I think this is a pretty strong prescription for the Republican Party, thinking about, even if you're talking about, let's say Trump would win a second term, even if you're talking about 6 years from now, you have to be looking that far ahead. What are we going to do to build on the underlying revolt that provided Trump post-Trump? I think that's a good question. And I think it's one you should start considering now because I think it can inform the 2018 midterms and perhaps salvage the House. In addition to saying, as Jordan Gerke, political consultant, suggested, make sure people understand you come out and vote because if the Democrats take control, they're going to move to impeach this guy. But I would add a corollary to that, friendly amendment. They're going to try and impeach this guy, and they're going to try and stop your revolt. It's exactly what Jindal said. Revert back to the self-serving political parties, limp self-serving political parties that they were. I think it's really important, and it's not a discussion that's happening in too many Republican circles, so I appreciate Bobby Jindal raising it up.
I agree. I don't know that there's anyone other than Trump who wouldn't have at this point buckled under the pressure of, saying the right thing and political correctness and continue. He stood in that speech and still talked about the need to stand during the national anthem. And, there are just, and the wall.
Yes.
And
yes. And the Democrats wouldn't stand for it.
Well, right. But
it was
also,
an incredible moment.
I don't know that it's within the courage of the establishment Republicans to be Trump-like in that way. And I would also add, and this was in Michael Barone's most recent column, I think, I don't want to see the Republican Party abandon things like free markets and watching the debt crisis and entitlement reform. There has to be more than just the movement. It has to lead to these policy changes, and I don't want to see the party abandon that.
Steve in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I've never called into a radio station, and I just had to after I heard Nancy. Were we not listening to the same speech? I just don't get it. The hatefulness of this man. He reached out to 1.8 million dreamers.
Yep.
I just don't understand where these people are coming from.
They don't want a deal. They don't. They want the demagoguery. Thanks for the call, Steve. That's exactly right. Yeah, if somebody who's like fair-minded, let's see what it sounds like, you can't appreciate that this is all about their political power agenda. They do not want a deal. They want mascots to prosecute an issue for political purposes. I mean, is there any other way to receive that when the president comes over the top and says, I'll see your 800,000 and raise you another million?
No, this is their prop. They're using this, we all know this, to get through the 2018 elections and to win back some seats. But that is, once you strip away the onion, that's what's left. They don't care about the dreamers, or they would have taken the deal. And to get into the mind of somebody like Nancy Pelosi, I think that's the point. She has no policy agenda. She doesn't have a heart for these people. It's all about maintaining her power base and getting back into the majority.
Phil in Itasca.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good morning.
So, we got to honestly look at our side. Let's look at Peter Roskam and Paul Ryan. Sure, you can agree with them and like everything they do, but they too want to hold on to their power because they've never done anything outside of this. So, if they lose, what would they do? I mean, it's like anybody else in any other job who has been there forever, and you get to a point in life where you get to a certain age that, hey, I got to hang on to my job, and I'm going to cause problems maybe unconsciously for others because I'm worried about my job, my livelihood going forward.
Thanks for the
and I know you're going to push that away, but Peter Roskam, what else has he done?
Well, Peter Roskam was an attorney in private practice. If he lost his congressional seat, he could go be an attorney again. If he even still needs to be an attorney, I don't know. But the point is that Peter Roskam and Paul Ryan are not going to be without employment if they weren't members of Congress. Now, that's not the same thing as arguing for term limits or something like that, but we're not talking about people that have no skill sets that are applicable in the private sector.
Yeah, I'm raising my hand.
Go ahead, Kristen. Phil, hold on.
Phil, here's a little answer to your question. In the two examples you gave, they actually have a policy agenda.
That's true, too.
Nancy Pelosi does not. A lot of the Democrats do not. She can't sit down and talk about tax reform. That tax reform bill came to be because somebody like Peter Roskam was at the table day and night. He can talk about that bill inside and out. And as for Paul Ryan, he was a backbencher, the only person who was ever talking about entitlement reform. And we're at least starting to move in that direction because of someone like him. He can sit down and talk about entitlement reform and Medicaid reform and Medicare reform. So there is a big difference in their using their positions to advance policy.
Thanks for the call, Phil.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
As a parent, you want what's best for your children. That means sending them to a school where they'll get the superior education they deserve, and that also shares your values. That can be tricky these days, as public schools have changed and private schools can be expensive. Your household budget has already been cut to the bone, and it's hard to imagine where you'll find that extra money. Well, there's help to lessen that financial burden and provide your child with the very best education at half the cost. At AM 560, The Answer, we work with private schools throughout the Chicagoland area to provide tuition for families at half the normal cost. Just log on to halfpriceschools.com and you'll find some of Chicagoland's finest private schools, from preschool all the way through high school, at half the cost. And chances are there's a school right in your neighborhood. Invest in your child's education and future at halfpriceschools.com. A limited number of half-price vouchers are available. Go to halfpriceschools.com now.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
If you're young and healthy, you don't need life insurance, right? Yeah, that's what I used to think too, until my brother died at 38. Joe left his wife with 2 kids, a mortgage, and a stack of bills she couldn't pay. Mary had to sell the house and move everybody into this tiny 2-bedroom apartment just to make ends meet. I never want to do that to my wife, so I got life insurance. I called AIG Direct and was really surprised how affordable it is. Just $14 a month for $250,000 of term life coverage. Listen, if you have a family, you should seriously think about getting life insurance. You'll feel a lot better having it, trust me.
Call AIG Direct for a free, no-obligation quote. The call takes less than 5 minutes, and you could save up to 70%. Call now, 1-800-600-5451. That's 1-800-600-5451. 1-800-600-5451.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
My blood pressure is significantly so low now compared to what it was. I think I'm doing great with it.
That's one thing I like about Balance of Nature. Y'all listen, you talk and communicate, and not just give us your order. We're done. Bye. You know, it to me it makes more. I want to say kind of a family-oriented business. That we're out here for you, and we're part of your extended family, trying to fill you in, rather than just take your money.
I feel great.
A lot of the aches and pains I have the arthritis in my hand seems to have dissipated most of the time, and I feel wonderful.
Have the confidence that you're giving your body what it needs. Call now to receive 35% off your first Balance of Nature order. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing home? Then you need to call Team Hochberg. Supporting veterans is our passion. That's why we support Veteran Roasters, a Chicago coffee roaster that hires homeless and chronically unemployed veterans. If you'd like to help create jobs for homeless veterans, visit veteranroasters.com and purchase a 12-ounce bag of coffee roasted and ground by once homeless and unemployed veterans. The coffee's delicious and the profits are reinvested in hiring additional homeless veterans. Use promo code Team Hochberg to save 50% off the second bag you purchase. If you're a veteran securing a VA loan and would like to work with a local lender who supports veterans, call Team Hochberg now at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM560 listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage and Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee 4358 and MLS 19186.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
We are so thrilled with this product. He was literally getting up, laying on the couch, and falling asleep. He's so alert. It's amazing, totally amazing. This is a great product. His sodium levels have been low for, I would say, maybe close to 20 years. He's normal now, and this is the first time, and I can't even thank you enough.
The last thing I want to do is stop taking this. I definitely have lots more energy.
Have the confidence that you're giving your body what it needs. Call now to receive 35% off your first Balance of Nature order. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Kristen in for Amy this morning. Kristen McCreary from the Chicago Tribune. And we can't talk about Nancy Pelosi without getting the definitive statement from Sean from Elmwood Park on her. Sean.
She is the perfect face for the progressive movement. Not just because the face is fake, but because it's incompetent and corrupt. From the billionaire developer husband who only mysteriously buys land from the government, all the way down to her avoiding hiring rules for her own winery, which, by the way, something tells me she's on a permanent drip because she's constantly drunk. That is the face of progressivism. Now, here's the problem, Prof. I love Jindal. I really do. But populism is the wrong way. It's anything but freedom. And when you preach it, what you're really preaching is a collective economy, a totalitarian.
Yeah, I get the riff, but here's the thing: you have to actually read the piece rather than just kind of fall back into your riff on the topic.
That's what I got you for with the fancy words. And by the way, it's the first of the month. Pay your tab, dummy.
Thanks for the call, Sean. But Jindal is not advocating populism. He's saying build on the populist base that Trump has created for the party. That's what he's saying, and there's a distinction there. All right, we'll pick up the discussion on the FBI memo. And is Rod Rosenstein the next shoe to drop, the next law enforcement official to be shown the door? We're going to ask Andy McCarthy, former federal prosecutor, contributing editor to National Review at 7:37. But now we check the headline with Mike Scott.
29 degrees, some clouds this morning. The investigation into that train crash involving Republican lawmakers could take several days. One person died in yesterday morning's crash in Virginia when the train carrying GOP lawmakers hit a garbage truck. Controversial memo, Republicans say, does show surveillance abuse at the FBI may be released today. The memo alleges an anti-Trump bias in the FBI's Russia investigation. The FBI is publicly expressing some grave concerns. Mayor of Nashville this morning admits she had an affair with a former member of her security staff, a Nashville policeman. In a press conference, a Democrat, Megan Barry, says she'll accept full responsibility for the pain she has caused. The American Heart Association out with a stark warning as Heart Health Month begins. The association says life-saving therapies like chemotherapy and radiation can cause serious cardiac problems, including heart failure. The AHA says those risks can crop up, sometimes years after treatment. Commuters are paying more this morning as you hop on the Metro train. Fare hikes go up for one-way tickets and monthly passes as much as 25 cents in all zones. Two are dead following a shooting on Chicago's west side. Police say the victims were shot in the head last night sitting in a vehicle in the 4700 block of West Arthington. The woman known as a serial stowaway remains jailed following her arrest last weekend at O'Hara. Cook County judge ordering Marilyn Hartman held without bond yesterday. Former CPS CEO Paul Vallis taking shots at Mayor Emanuel while attending a City Club of Chicago lunch yesterday. 4 Carson stores in Chicago closing this spring. The department store chain Bon-Ton announcing that Carson's stores will close in Schaumburg, in Chicago, and clearance centers in Aurora and Martin Grove, part of 7 that will close statewide. The Bulls fell to the Trailblazers 124-108 last night. Blackhawks begin their 2-game Canadian road trip tonight against the Canucks. The news service of Hallmark this Valentine's Day. Tell the ones you love just how much you care in a Valentine's Day card from Hallmark. It's a sweet gesture that will leave that special someone smiling. Find the perfect card today in the card department wherever Hallmark cards are sold. 7:33, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Bob Ament, a founding partner of the law firm of Daspin and Ament and longtime personal customer of Signature Bank. Our firm recently left one of the larger banks to bank with Signature Bank, and it's been a refreshing change. With Signature Bank, we've been able to tailor banking solutions that fit the specific needs of our firm. Beyond that, Signature Bank is responsive, efficient, and timely in meeting those needs. If I have a request, I pick up the phone and talk to Mick O'Rourke, not someone at a phone bank thousands of miles away. Daspin and Ament needed more than what the larger banks offer, and we found that with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You've heard us say, if your roof is needy,
call Grumweedy.
Well, now, if a vacation is needy,
call Grumweedy.
Really? What's that all about?
This is Mark Olson
and Greg Olson from Crumweedy.
We created a special deal just for you. Receive a luxury cruise vacation for 2 with a qualifying purchase. A great roof, siding, or windows, and a vacation. Call us and start packing now.
Let's book your new roof or siding. We'll do a great job, and you'll get the Crumweedy promise of installation that's up to manufacturer specifications, so your warranty is intact.
And receive a luxury cruise for 2 as a thank you.
Some restrictions apply, and we only have so many vacations to give, so call now.
We fix roof problems, and you get the cruise.
Call Grumweedy.
630-595-8020. 630-595-8020.
Go to myroofisneedy.com today. myroofisneedy.com.
When you're hiring, you want qualified candidates fast, and it can be hard to know where to find them. More than 3 million businesses use Indeed.com, the world's #1 job site. Whether you need entry-level or highly skilled employees, Indeed helps you find great talent and make the right hire. Indeed is offering new users a $50 credit to give their first job post premium visibility as a sponsored job. Redeem this offer at Indeed.com/promo. That's Indeed.com/promo. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Hate going to the mall? Try LaTote.com, a fashion subscription box that sends brand name clothing and accessories right to your door for one low monthly fee. Choose from brands like BCBG, Nike, Rebecca Minkoff, and more. All month long, get unlimited totes each month. Simply wear, return, and repeat. Go to LaTote.com, enter code radio at checkout to get 50% off your first month. Wear what you want, return everything in the mail when you're done. Repeat all month long. Again, that's LaTote.com, enter code radio.
7:37 and a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. Hyde Park southbound Lakeshore Drive is closed 57th before Hayes due to a crash. Tri-State Tollway northbound, very heavy now. 95th to the Hinsdale Oasis. And from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, northbound Veterans Memorial, stop and go. Boughton to the Reagan Tollway, Butterfield to Roosevelt, and Army Trail to 290. Edens is 23 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 25. Kennedy, 55 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 35. The Eisenhower, 58 minutes, 390 to downtown. It's 39 minutes outbound. Stevenson, 56 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 36. Ryan is 35 minutes, 95th to downtown. Traffic service of Lowe's. Pro customers at Lowe's save 5% on every purchase every day when you use your Lowe's Business Credit Account. That's 5% on all purchases in-store or online. Subject to credit approval. U.S. only. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte. On AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Breezy, much colder throughout the day. A high of 20, but that will occur later in the afternoon. Clear and frigid, a low of 3 overnight. It's 29 at O'Hare, but that cold air is pretty close. This morning it is 19 degrees in DeKalb. Your next news update is at 8. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy. Kristen McQuarrie sitting in for Amy this morning on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Lou Bridges Show. Tune in on Saturday mornings at 8 to learn how you might fight foreclosure and keep your home.
Some call me the sage from South Central. Others call me the czar of common sense. But you can call me Larry Elder. And you're invited to join me tonight, starting at 7, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan. And in for Amy this morning, Chicago Tribune editorial board member Kristen McQuarrie. And Kristen, our next guest, Andy McCarthy, I think he's really become the definitive political legal commentator on all things related to all of the competing investigations going on. Obviously, his background as former assistant U.S. attorney in Manhattan and gives him the requisite knowledge to provide the really perspicacious reviews that we should be getting, but we don't get in very many places, certainly not in most of these insufferable cable TV shows. He's got a couple of pieces. By the way, I think also you should, if you read Andy McCarthy, you should get CLE credits if you're a lawyer, and particularly if you're a lawyer as a member of Congress. He's got a couple of recent pieces about both Mueller's investigation and whether Trump should agree to be interviewed by Mueller, as well as whether Rod Rosenstein, the Deputy Attorney General, is abiding his responsibility, his oversight responsibilities with respect to Mueller. And, of course, we want to talk about the memo, too. So without further ado, we're pleased to be joined by the aforesaid Andy McCarthy. You can get all of his work at nationalreview.com. Andy, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Morning, Dan. Morning, Kristen. I'm busy looking up perspicacious, but
okay. Well,
I bring my thesaurus to the show when I sub, Andy. It's helpful.
It wasn't a bar exam question, so you don't need to worry about it. So normally what I do, Andy, is at the beginning of the week, I look for your column, I read it, then I pretend that your arguments are my arguments for the purposes of discussing these topics.
He actually does.
And so I want you, I want you to lay out your argument that I've previously laid out about Mueller and why Trump shouldn't sit down with Mueller. More than even that, why Trump shouldn't even be asked by Mueller for an interview.
Yeah, well, I think that the structural question about how the government works and how the Justice Department is supposed to work is, while a prosecutor has the power to subpoena anybody into the grand jury virtually for any reason, and that's because the grand jury has very broad, almost limitless investigative authority. A grand jury is even allowed to investigate to satisfy itself that no crime happened. So it's very expansive. So what brings some sensible limits to what prosecutors can do is the policies and the supervisory authority in the executive branch. So this is a hotly politicized thing. So let's just try to take Trump out of it for a second. Let's say I read an article in the Chicago Tribune, and it indicated that the reporter had a bunch of sources that would be very interesting in terms of developing an investigation that I am running. So I think the easiest shortcut would be, let me just get one of my subpoenas and give it to an FBI agent and tell him to serve the reporter to come into the grand jury where I can ask about who the sources are and move forward with the investigation. I don't get to do that in the Justice Department. Even though the law says that the journalist doesn't have some kind of, First Amendment protection of sources, even though the journalists sometimes assert that, but that privilege doesn't exist in the law. But there are Justice Department policies that say you don't get to bring a journalist in unless you're investigating something that's very serious and you've exhausted every other possibility of getting information, which is why journalists virtually never get, they notoriously, it's notorious when they get subpoenaed because it happens so infrequently.
Unless you're
so
Holder
the
and
idea
you
is
just
that there are
surveil them. Yeah.
Yeah, right. But the point is that you have Justice Department policies that are in place to make sure that people don't abuse their awesome investigative powers. And with respect to presidents, other public officials and the like, you don't get to bring them in and interview them just because you think it would be interesting. You have to have a good reason to do it. You have to be investigating a serious matter. The president needs to be a suspect in it, and you have to have information of the nature of, say, Nixon's tapes in Watergate that indicate that the president is the only way that you're able to get at that information. If you don't have that, you're not supposed to be issuing a subpoena to bring the president of the United States in. Or interviewing him as a criminal suspect.
So when Alan Dershowitz says, look, the president has two choices, he can agree to sit down for the interview and try and stake out the framework, the rules for the interview, or Mueller can just go subpoena him. You're saying, well, there's some options there, too. Number one, there's the oversight option and some restraint on Mueller's part unless he can clear this threshold you're describing. Number two, of course, the president always has the option to quash any subpoena that may be issued for his testimony.
Yeah, well, he can do that. He could try to do that in a couple of ways. One way is he could assert executive privilege. But the reason presidents don't want to do that, of course, is that is fraught with all kinds of damaging political implications because of the association with Watergate. But you're quite right. The president runs the executive branch. So, in essence, he could fire Mueller. He could order the investigation, the plug pulled on it. He could pardon everyone, which would effectively end the investigation. But the president doesn't want to do any of those things for the obvious reasons. And he shouldn't be put to the point of either doing it or not doing it unless the Justice Department, not just Mueller, but the Justice Department is satisfied that there's an investigation into a serious crime that Trump is implicated in, and that this kind of a interview with the president is necessary to get relevant information. And if that exists, by the way, I would not object to Trump being subpoenaed, and I don't think anyone else should either. But the Justice Department hasn't been required to show anything in this case that they should be required to show in order to have an investigation of this kind. Every single time we've ever had in our history a special counsel or special prosecutor investigation involving a president, we've all always known what the crimes were, and the president has known what the crimes were that were under investigation. Here, we're completely in the dark.
So given all that, and given your questions about whether or not these requisite steps have been taken, how likely is it, do you think, that he will sit for an interview and that he'll be asked to sit and that he'll sit?
I think it's very likely he'll be asked, because as long as Mueller's as long as no one's telling Mueller he can't, any prosecutor would want to have more information. So if I were Mueller, I'd say, what's the harm in asking? The question is whether he has to pass some hurdle in the Justice Department before he can put that question. It doesn't sound like anybody's making him do that. So I do think the question will be asked. And as I understand it, Kristen, the president's legal team is trying to be cooperative. So I imagine that rather than just tell Mueller no, they'll probably try to negotiate something like written questions that the president can provide written answers to, rather than, a session talking to Mueller's investigators, or I don't see the president going into the grand jury.
And this is the area where you're critical of Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein with respect to providing that oversight you described with on Mueller.
Yeah, well, my criticism of Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein in this has been from the beginning. And by the way, from what I understand, Rosenstein's a very good guy. He's a good prosecutor. It's not, I don't take any joy in saying this, but there are regulations that apply when you appoint a special counsel, and what the regulations say is that you're supposed to articulate the crime that has required the Justice Department to recuse itself and required the appointment of a special counsel. And that's not just an idle exercise. As we all know, these special counsel investigations tend to go on for years, and they careen from what they were originally about, to some other crime way down the road that is not even contemplated at the time the guy is appointed. So the idea of articulating what crime they're supposed to be looking at is that it circumscribes the jurisdiction of the special counsel precisely so it doesn't roll out of control. And yet that was never done here.
I want to get your response to something that we had Jonah Goldberg on earlier, and he said that he thought, these are separate lanes. You have the Mueller investigation, and then you have this effort with the memos and everything else to kind of discredit justice and discredit the FBI, and that it's dishonorable of Republicans in particular to be conflating these issues and interfering and crossing lanes, and that Mueller is very capable of handling this, and it is a separate issue than what's going on at FBI. What's your take on that?
Well, I've written something similar to what Jonah is saying here, but I have a somewhat different take on it than he does. I mean, I think that to the extent that people say that this whole Nunes memo and this inquiry into how the FBI carried out its investigative authorities under FISA during the 2016 campaign is a separate issue from the Mueller investigation, which started months later. And Mueller's remit is basically to investigate what happened with Russia in connection with the 2016 election. That is, how did Russia try to threaten our electoral system? The Trump aspect of it, the Trump campaign aspect of it, is a sideline in a greater investigation, even though the Trump aspect of it obviously has gotten the most attention. So it is true that they're separate. On the other hand, we also have to acknowledge that a lot of attention, rightly, I think, has been paid to the Steele dossier, which is this unverified screed of opposition research that contains a lot of allegations that are pretty sensational against Trump, sourced to anonymous Russians that was never apparently corroborated. And former FBI Director Comey testified in the Senate in June of 2017 that document was, as he put it, salacious and unverified. And if it was unverified in June of 2017, it was certainly unverified in September or October of 2016, when the FBI and the Justice Department evidently used it as part of the application to get surveillance authority on some people who were associated with the Trump campaign. Now, I think that's worth covering, because if it turns out that the whole Trump-Russia collusion angle, that a great part of it in any event was the result of this dossier, that certainly does call into question the narrative that ultimately resulted in Mueller's investigation. It does not, however, invalidate anything that Mueller has done and anything that Mueller will do, because there's still the very important issue of what did Russia try to do to our elections. And Mueller is the guy who's been picked to get to the bottom of that.
And don't we have to get to the bottom of this other very important issue, which is, did the previous administration weaponize law enforcement, the intelligence community, for political purposes against political opponents? The departure of Andy McCabe from FBI calls that into question again, including stories that are suggesting that McCabe delayed the examination of the Clinton emails of classified information found on the Wiener laptop and advised Comey against issuing any kind of public statement on the re-examination as the election neared, and just all of the political, frankly, the politicization and the conflicts of interest that we now know existed both at Justice and at the FBI, and maybe in other agencies when you get from their investigations to overt steps like unmasking, which we know is a criminal act that has kind of been lost in the shuffle.
Well, I think all those things absolutely have to be investigated. We do need to find out how immersed the FBI was in the politics of the 2016 election. We have to sort out how much of that was the FBI's fault and how much of it was the happenstance that, they happen to have been investigating somebody who was nominated to be president.
Right.
So, you have to, some of the stuff landed in the FBI's lap through no fault of the FBI's, right? I mean, the Democrats decided to nominate Mrs. Clinton. The Republicans decided to nominate Trump. They both came to the table with whatever baggage they had, and the FBI had to deal with the fallout of that. The question is, did they deal with it within their normal policies and regulations, or didn't they? So, of course, that needs to be investigated. I'm not sure the unmasking, to the extent it happened, has a criminal aspect.
What about Flynn?
It does have I'm sorry?
What about Flynn? What about with respect to Flynn?
Well, there's a difference between the unmasking and the leaking of classified information. If that information was leaked to the media, that's classified information that was leaked. That's a crime. Unmasking is it may be a crime. It's never going to be a crime, but it may be a violation of the minimization instructions that attend to these FISA intelligence collections, or not. If the person who asked for the unmasking, which is just the revealing of the identity of somebody who's been collected in foreign intelligence collection, and the revealing is only in intelligence reporting. It's not revealing it publicly. It's still classified. If that was done in violation of minimization instructions, that's simply a violation. It's not a crime. And it's hard to prove that it's even a violation because the laws are very loose on this. The minimization instructions say that if the intelligence person thinks that in order to exploit the value of the intelligence collection, you need to know the identity, they're allowed to unmask. And the big problem here is not so much the unmasking per se as was it used in an overall arrangement that was designed to leak the information to the media. That's the big problem.
He is Andy McCarthy, former assistant U.S. attorney in Manhattan, contributing editor at National Review. Always check out his stuff on these topics. Andy McCarthy, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You too. And he joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You want to go to Italy, but not on a prepackaged tour. You want something more real. You want to do what you love in Italy, to gather with friends, your beloved family, a big table, in your own private villa in Tuscany. It's easier than you think. DoWhatYouLoveInItaly.com is a small company with 8 villas to choose from, all in the most beautiful and culturally interesting countryside of Tuscany. For the cost of a hotel, you can rent a private, centuries-old villa with pool, gardens, and classic Tuscan views. Grandparents, kids, and grandchildren, groups of friends, your family, together in one of our gorgeous Italian villas in the heart of Tuscany. They are called Do What You Love in Italy because they help you to do what you love in Italy. See the 8 villas waiting for you at DoWhatYouLoveInItaly.com. DoWhatYouLoveInItaly.com.
Do you have sleep apnea? Are you tired of dragging your big, bulky CPAP device with you whenever you leave home? Yeah, well, I was too. That's why I'm so glad I called to try the Transcend Mini CPAP for 10 nights. I can't imagine living without it now. My Transcend is about as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. That's less hassle to carry than my shaving kit. Plus, I was able to add a battery pack that's as tiny as a deck of cards. But hey, that's not all. Transcend is FAA compliant too, which means I can finally sleep comfortably while flying. Heck, I can sleep comfortably anywhere now. So if that all sounds good to you, call now to give Transcend a try. You'll be glad you did.
Now you can try Transcend and sleep comfortably for 10 restful nights with a money-back guarantee. Just pay return shipping. So call minicpap.com now. 1-800-300-6551. Again, that's 1-800-300-6551. 1-800-300-6551.
AM 560's Passport to Paradise contest is open to any legal U.S. resident, age 18 or older. To enter, download the AM 560 mobile app and fill out the entry form between January 22nd and February 9th, 2018. One grand prize winner will be randomly chosen on February 12th and will receive a 7-night trip for two to Riviera Maya, Mexico, including round-trip airfare and a junior suite at the Secrets Maroma Beach Riviera, Cancun. Approximate retail value $3,334. Visit 560theanswer.com for complete rules.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
We love the product. I think we've been on it for, 12 years now, or pretty close, and we believe in it, and we're going to continue taking it.
I have a $1,200 knee brace because I have bone on bone in my left knee, and I have a torn cartilage in my right knee. And since I've been taking Balance of Nature, I don't wear my brace, and I can walk without pain. It's I have these copper things I used to put on my knees. I don't use those either. I don't use anything. I think it's just wonderful.
Have the confidence that you're giving your body what it needs. Call now to receive 35% off your first Balance of Nature order. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Kristen McQuarrie from the Trib Ed Board in for Amy this morning. And coming up at 8:08, the UK courts strike again against parents in defense of their sanctified state-run health care. What would you do? Since it's something we have to contemplate if Republicans lose control of the White House or Congress. That's at 8:08. And now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
An 11-year-old boy shot in an East Side neighborhood. Chicago police continue to investigate. A fake bomb tossed into a tobacco shop in Marionette Park. Several CPD officers are accused of robbing drug dealers. Blazers beat the Bulls last night. Blackhawks visit the Canucks. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
He claims it was secretly altered. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Congressman Adam Schiff is the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee and claims Republicans made changes after voting to release a controversial classified memo in the Russia probe. Schiff says that makes it invalid. He also thinks Republicans are trying to undermine the special counsel. The FBI also has grave concerns about release of the memo. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, Republicans who have read the memo say it shows the government used the Steele dossier as a basis for obtaining a warrant to snoop on the Trump campaign. Congressman Mark Meadows says Americans have the right to see it.
The spying of Americans took place, and so hopefully we'll see that later today.
Republicans say changes were made to the memo, but only to address grammatical errors and the concerns of the FBI. The agency and the Justice Department have said the memo's release could harm national security. Dave.
Rachel, federal investigators are in Crozet, Virginia, where a mangled garbage truck and trash still litter the scene of the Amtrak crash.
Our mission is to understand not only what happened, but why it happened, and make recommendations to prevent it from happening again.
Earl Weiner with the National Transportation Safety Board also thanked
all of the first responders on the scene, including multiple passengers from the Amtrak train.
And that included Republican members of Congress who are also doctors who rushed to help 3 men injured on the train. 1 died. Today, those Republicans are at a retreat plotting their agenda in West Virginia, and in about 3 hours, President Trump will speak to them. History made in South Korea. 10 North Korean skaters and skiers arrived today for the Winter Olympics that start next week. Some Russian athletes are trying to make last-minute plans to also go to South Korea after the Court of Arbitration for Sport overturned the doping ban for 28 Russians. Fox News. Fair and balanced.
Fair skies, 24 degrees, winds west at 12, gives us a wind chill this morning of 20 above at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Temperatures will tumble throughout the day, and we could see single digits overnight. Commuters will pay more today to ride the Metro train. Ticket prices are jumping 25 cents in all zones. Monthly passes, for instance, increasing $9 to $12.50, depending on the length of your trip. No one in custody following a shooting that seriously wounded an 11-year-old boy on in Chicago's East Side neighborhood at 103rd and South Avenue N. 2 are dead following a shooting on Chicago's West Side. Chicago police tell us the victims were shot in the head last night sitting in a vehicle in the 4700 block of West Arthington. A new poll on the Democratic primary race for governor shows the largest group of voters polled have not made up their minds. The undecideds lead the pack in Chicago, suburban Cook County, Collier counties, and downstate. No one hurt after what was thought to be a pipe bomb was tossed into a tobacco shop in Marionette Park. Police there say someone threw that beeping device into a Tobacco City store. A customer grabbed it, tossed it back outside. Former CPS CEO Paul Vallis is taking shots at Mayor Emanuel. While attending a City Club of Chicago luncheon yesterday, Vallis blasted the mayor for acting too slowly to address the city's financial woes. Bulls fell to the Trailblazers in Portland, 124-108. The news service of Pringles. When you stack up different flavors of Pringles, you create amazing new flavors. Stack up cheddar cheese, jalapeno, and French onion dip Pringles. You've got yourself a 3-layer dip stack, which makes you a genius. Stack up different flavors. Create endless new ones with Pringles. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat from the Fox Business Network, a service of Turnkey.pro. Here's Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, not as many people are signing on to Facebook in the U.S. and Canada. Though its earnings were sharply higher and its international business is growing, investors are focused on the 5% drop in daily usage of its service. Roger Kay is president of Endpoint Technologies.
Social networks have come and gone. You know, they become popular, they're interesting, and then they kind of get polluted, and then people abandon them. And that's really been the history of things like the Well in California and AOL later on and so on. So it's not inevitable that Facebook take over the world.
Microsoft's cloud computing business is growing. It lost money in its recent quarter, though excluding an expense related to the new tax law, its earnings were stronger than a year ago. China's answer to Amazon Alibaba Group Holdings says its business increased in the holiday quarter, though earnings were weaker than expected. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
8:05, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Spark ideas for spring home improvement at the Old House New House Home Show, February 9th through 11th at Pheasant Run Resort in St. Charles. Explore the latest in kitchens, baths, basements, additions, renovations, and landscaping. Discover displays from 300 award-winning contractors, talented designers, and creative craftsmen. You can also meet experts on roofing, waterproofing, window treatments, patios, pergolas, painting, tile, custom closets, windows, doors, flooring, and more at the Old House New House Home Show. Enjoy inspiring workshops on kitchen design, decorating trends, beautiful bathrooms, and landscaping design. Plus, meet Mr. Fix-It, Lou Manfredini, on Saturday morning. Adult admission is $7, seniors just $4, and parking is free. A portion of ticket proceeds benefits Habitat for Humanity of Northern Fox Valley. Update, renovate, and revitalize your home with the Old House New House Home Show, February 9th through 11th at Pheasant Run Resort, St. Charles. For tickets and more information, visit KennedyProductions.com.
As you approach retirement, it's important to determine the amount of income you can receive from Social Security. Depending on when and how distributions are taken, you may be able to optimize the benefits you're eligible to receive, particularly among married couples. Call Jack Taboda today to get a copy of his informational booklet, The Social Security Decisions. This informational booklet presents the facts about Social Security distribution options to help you determine when when and how to begin taking distributions, so you may receive more income over the course of your retirement. To receive your Social Security Decisions informational booklet, call Jack at 630-777-7955 or visit Teboda.com. That's TEBODA.com. Get the most out of your Social Security benefits. Call today, 630-777-7955.
Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC. AE Wealth Management and Teboda & Associates are not affiliated. Companies Teboda & Associates is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
All money managers may seem pretty much the same. But while some money managers may recommend high commission investment products, Fisher Investments avoids them. Some money managers may have hidden and layered fees. Fisher Investments never does. And while some money managers are happy to earn commissions from you, whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're structured to be on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come to us from other money managers. Talk with us and find out why so many experienced investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments, clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
It is 8:08 and a check of your morning roads on the roads this morning and on the watch in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. It's heavy on the inbound Kennedy Jam Central to the Burns Circle, an hour and 6 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 48 minutes from Montrose, 40 in the Express. Outbound 33 minutes to the airport. Edens, 22 minutes, Lake Cook Junction, outbound 30. The Eisenhower, 1 hour from 390 to downtown. 45 minutes from Manheim, outbound 40 to 390. Stevenson, an hour and 4 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 36 minutes. The Ryan's 40 minutes, 95th to downtown. Bishop Ford, 45 minutes, 8094 to the Ryan. Northbound Tri-State delays, 95th to the Hinsdale Oasis, and from the Reagan Tollway most to the way to Lawrence. The Adams Tollway's clear. Reagan Tollway stop and go Farnsworth to Eola. Veterans Memorial, 555 most to the way to Roosevelt. Army Trail to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast with meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today breezy and much colder with some clouds, then sunshine, high 20. Clear and frigid tonight with a low 3. Full day of sunshine tomorrow, but cold with a high 21. Then a mostly cloudy night with a low 16. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
We told you those temperatures would begin to tumble. 24 at O'Hare right now, 28 along the lakefront, a wind chill of 19. And your next news update is at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan, and filling in for Amy, the Chicago Editorial Board's Kristen McQuarrie on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Financial Planning with Jack Teboda, your 401k specialist, whose goal is to protect, preserve, and grow your wealth. Saturday mornings at 7.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Kristen McQuarrie from the Trib Ed Board in for Amy this morning. And Kristen, you remember the Charlie Gard case in Britain?
I do.
So Charlie Gard, for those of you who don't recall, was this terminally ill baby whose parents, he suffered from a genetic disease, mitochondrial DNA depletion syndrome, that left him unable to see, hear, move, swallow, even breathe without life support. His parents wanted to take him to the U.S. for treatment, but the British courts, in defense of NICE, the Orwellian-named National Health Care, government-run healthcare system in Britain, blocked Charlie Gard's parents from taking their son to the United States. They wouldn't release him, via the state-run hospital to his parents.
It wasn't in his best interest, Dan.
Okay. Yeah.
And he died, by the way, because he was not allowed to be released, even though there was a physician here in New York who wanted to try this experimental treatment.
And this American doctor from Columbia University actually flew to London to examine him and provide his recommendation to the court. Part of the problem in terms of this experimental treatment that this Dr. Hirano of Columbia University had developed was the time, because of the delay in allowing the parents to take Charlie Gard to the U.S. to meet with Dr. Hirano or getting Dr. Hirano out to London. His condition, of course, deteriorated because he was facing an existential threat as it was.
Mm-hmm.
So while the wheels of justice, such as it is in Britain, turned, Charlie Gard's chances diminished. He ultimately died, as you said. So now we have another case.
And he was taken off life support. They were
Yes.
allowed to remove him from life support, even though his parents objected and the doctor was waiting. It wasn't like he died naturally. They actually made the decision. The courts, the government made the decision over the objections of his parents.
Important point, because that's the perfect segue to this most recent case. A judge in the UK has ruled that doctors can take a severely disabled baby off life support over the objections of the child's parents. Doctors argue that attempting to prolong 11-month-old Isaiah Hastrup's life should not be continued because it's
not in his best interest.
Bingo. Isaiah was born by C-section at King's College Hospital after his mother had a ruptured uterus. Isaiah suffered brain damage when he was born. His respiration activity, had no respiration activity or muscle tone when he was born. The doctors advised Isaiah be taken off life supports, but his parents, Takesha Thomas and Lonray Hastrup, objected. The parents held the hospital responsible for their son's condition, didn't want to accept the hospital's advice on the baby's future. The mom, Takesha Thomas, told the court, "When I speak to him, he will respond slowly by opening one eye. I see a child who is injured. He needs love. He needs care. I have it. I can give it. To say it is so poor it's not worth living, that is not right. It's not their decision to make." Well, is it? Are you ready to cede these life and death decisions to the government, even treatment decisions to the government? Because just because we have forestalled the onslaught of Obamacare thanks to President Trump and the ascension of Republicans in Congress doesn't mean the battle's over. If you haven't been paying attention for, say, I don't know, the last 50 years, just to take a portion of our nation's history, the cultural Marxist left does not relent. They don't go away because they've been defeated in one election. They will continue to come back, and they will continue to pursue through the back door what they can't get through the front door, and that's ultimately a British-style healthcare system. Don't forget so many of the prospective 2020 Democrat candidates for president, including Comrade Bernie, who want to mirror our healthcare system after those single-payer systems like Britain's or Canada's, where the government makes these decisions. And, oh, by the way, in addition to that, you have the quote-unquote death with dignity, another Orwellian entitled ghoulish movement that's also happening in this country. It started in Western Europe, and, of course, it's moved to the Pacific Northwest, and now it's coming to the Midwest. There's a move in Illinois to expand euthanasia.
Mm-hmm.
And so 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Who you with? Courts call, government's call, government-run healthcare's call, doctor's call, mom and dad's call. You want to see euthanasia expand? You want to see the disabled further marginalized, harvested for organs, as is literally what's happening in places like Belgium. And all under the phrase that pays, Huxleyan, not in the child's best interest.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the child's best interest. You want what is or is not in your child's best interest determined by you, the parent, or the government. That's what this comes down to.
There are actually quite a few cases of this. Just once in a while, one will bubble to the surface and the media will pick up on it, like this latest baby, Isaiah. But it actually happens quite often where parents are given, they get a court ruling against their wishes. And I've read about a couple of cases where the doctors almost immediately, without even giving the parents a chance to say goodbye or anything, start disconnecting life support, taking away feeding tubes. Sometimes these children don't even die right away. It can take several days. This latest case with Isaiah, he's 11 months old. His mother is pleading in court saying, he needs care. I have it. I can give it. They want to take him home. And the courts ruled against their right to do so. And she, you alluded to this, she had a C-section. She blames the hospital. The baby was fine. It was a perfectly healthy pregnancy. She had something called a ruptured uterus, which is very rare, where during the C-section the baby slips into the mother's abdomen rather than coming out of the uterus. But so she blames the hospital, and then the courts are expecting her to take the advice of the hospital, who just damaged her precious child.
Right. I mean,
disconnect.
We don't know, and I'm not alleging malpractice, but it seems like it's a possibility. She certainly is sort of indicating that she believes that could be an issue. So yeah, right, the people who put my child in this situation, at least from her perspective, now they get to impose their will on me and my child? No. Can understand that position. Ralph in Rantoul, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, good morning. Well, if the government owns the system, the government is going to own the decisions.
Yep, that's it.
That's what the Brits wanted X many years ago. That's what Obamacare is very effectively ramming down our throats through the healthcare system. So today it's this baby. Yesterday it was the baby that Kristen was talking about. Tomorrow it's Republicans or anybody from any unprotected class as defined by those who run the system. Watch out, people.
Thanks for the call, Ralph. We live in a world of scarce resources. So you have to make a decision about how you believe resources and decision-making is distributed. It can be rationed by those with the monopoly of force in society, or it can be distributed through the give and take of private actors that are governed by transparent laws. That's the choice. So, it's kind of the big bad health insurance companies, and I'm no defender of big corporations, generally speaking, including health insurance companies. But there's so much talk and demagoguery about their rationing of services, right, because they have a bottom line to meet. You don't think the government rations?
Well, also, I don't want to connect apples and oranges here, so straighten me out if I am. But we just also read of the story of the mother who had an amazing recovery after the Las Vegas shooting. And she was on life support, and she wasn't showing signs of recovery. And I think I read that the husband was feeling pressure to let her go, to disconnect her. And then lo and behold, he's met in a dream that she's saying, don't do it. And now she's speaking, she's talking, she's going home. She has a long road of recovery. She has a long road to go. But imagine, we're talking about children, and this could expand to lots of other areas.
There's no question. And by the way, doctors, just like health insurance companies, just like government bureaucrats, are not omniscient. And that's why the operative question is, where does decision-making authority reside legitimately, first and foremost? Now, doctors and others can help people make informed decisions, and they should. But do they take the place? They stand in for the parent in loco parentis? No. Not if you want a free society, they don't. Kurt in Lamont, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, hi, thanks for taking my call. Actually worked for the NHS years ago, and there were a lot of good things about it, but whenever you have a government-run healthcare system, it's going to ration care because it has to keep costs under control. But I think there needs to be a real discussion that, talks about, when does the dying with dignity approach become the hurry up and die already?
Yes. Thanks for the call, Kurt. That's exactly right. That's exactly the discussion. Is death with dignity a euphemism for hurry up and die already? I've already got your organs slated for somebody else. So that's the kind of stuff that's happening. And, I just thought the left is just very cavalier with other people's lives, and some who consider themselves center-right, too. It's a burden. I wouldn't want to be in that position. I wouldn't want that to be my kid. I wouldn't want my kid to suffer. Fine. That's not your call for somebody else's kid, somebody else's family. And it's just remarkable to me. Remarkable to me. We just saw this week. You had Senate Democrats celebrating the defeat of a ban on abortions after 20 weeks in this country. So, yay, we're right there with North Korea and China, allowing for and financing through taxpayer funding, through taxpayer funding of Planned Parenthood, abortions on demand in places like Illinois, and thanks to Governor Rauner too. That's something to celebrate? What are you celebrating? You're celebrating policy so extreme that France blanches at what we do? That France has socialist countries that have a 20-week ban because they're actually following the science, and even that makes them a little queasy getting past 20 weeks? What is it?
They're very quiet about these cases, though. I think they don't even believe that these are real cases. This is fake news. It's not. It is actually happening, and it's happening a lot more frequently than you might think, and not just with babies, but as the previous caller said, sort of this hurry up and die. Government gets to decide. This is up to the courts. This is up to the courts.
On the other,
this family has to,
Yeah.
and the mother is saying, "I want to take him home." And to your listeners, I mean, this is a beautiful 11-month-old baby in his little sleepy pajamas. He has a breathing tube on and off. Mom wants to take him home, and she's trapped by government. It's
because the state owns
outrageous.
the kid. You don't.
It's outrageous.
Jim in Huntley.
Yes, good morning. Many years ago, there was a TV show called The Twilight Zone. Rod Sterling was the producer.
Yes.
They did an episode where, as a progressive society developed, and there was a court panel that could find people obsolete.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for the call, Jim. Yeah, life imitating Twilight Zone episodes. Jim in Chicago.
Hi, is that me?
Yep, that's you.
Sorry about that. I think that another aspect of this is kind of a cultural shift away from and this came up in the assisted suicide case that was before the Supreme Court. This value of the sanctity of life and having that as the core of what law is all about, and instead shifting to the idea of a utilitarian approach. About what a life is worth and whether it's worth putting in an effort, or is it a life worth living. During the assisted suicide case, there was a group that filed an amicus brief that was called Not Dead Yet. And it was a group of disabled who were afraid that with assisted suicide, sooner or later, the cost of maintaining disabled people were going to factor in to whether or not they would actually get treatment and be allowed to live. Cardinal Bernardine filed a moving amicus brief about the value of every life, regardless of what stage it was at, regardless of what the health of the person was, that once it was human life, it had an absolutely equal value, no matter what the quality of life or age or worth or value or wealth of the person might be. And instead, you now have this completely secular, kind of technocratic European state where, and it's unfortunately infected Britain and not just the continent anymore. The Netherlands was the home of this
Yes, that's right.
type of thinking, where it has almost become purely utilitarian. And I hope, I don't know, but I hope that the grounding in the American Constitution of individual liberty is something that would distinguish the United States from these trends. You mentioned the Northwest, and obviously Oregon and other states now have assisted suicide, and it's very troubling.
Jim, we got to go. Appreciate the call and your points, and they're well taken, and it is troubling. And it calls to mind this testimony that was given before Congress late last year. We played on this show from Frank Stevens, this young man with Down syndrome, where he addressed the congressional committee and said, I'm a man with Down syndrome, and my life is worth living. Is there no place for me in society? Is there no place for me?
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Okay, from the start.
The acerola cherry.
Alfalfa leaf, aloe vera, apples, asparagus, banana.
Beets, bell pepper, broccoli. Blueberries, blackberries, cranberry.
I make my Texas superfood from 55 raw, vine-ripened fruits and vegetables.
Mangosteen.
Pineapple, sweet potato.
Papaya, parsley, peach.
You can see all 55 on TexasSuperfood.com.
Raspberry, spinach, all of the nutrients that we need on a daily basis.
You know, it's been barely a week, and already my skin is better.
I lost 60 pounds. I mean, that's huge.
Since I've been on Superfood, I haven't been sick.
I'm Dennis Black here in Dallas, Texas. Wouldn't you rather be healthy, energetic, and fit?
It's borderline shocking how much energy I have.
Join us on TexasSuperfood.com.
TexasSuperfood.com.
Or call 877-55-TEXAS. That's 877-55-TEXAS. 877-55-TEXAS. Or
TexasSuperfood.com.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
If you're young and healthy, you don't need life insurance, right? Yeah, that's what I used to think too, until my brother died at 38. Joe left his wife with 2 kids, a mortgage, and a stack of bills she couldn't pay. Mary had to sell the house and move everybody into this tiny 2-bedroom apartment just to make ends meet. I never want to do that to my wife, so I got life insurance. I called AIG Direct and was really surprised how affordable it is. Just $14 a month for $250,000 of term life coverage. Listen, if you have a family, you should seriously think about getting life insurance. You'll feel a lot better having it, trust me.
Call AIG Direct for a free, no-obligation quote. The call takes less than 5 minutes, and you could save up to 70%. Call now, 1-800-600-5451. That's 1-800-600-5451. 1-800-600-5451.
AM 560's Passport to Paradise contest is open to any legal U.S. resident, age 18 or older. To enter, download the AM 560 mobile app and fill out the entry form between January 22nd and February 9th, 2018. One grand prize winner will be randomly chosen on February 12th and will receive a 7-night trip for 2 to Riviera Maya, Mexico, including round-trip airfare and a junior suite at the Secrets Maroma Beach Riviera, Cancun. Approximate retail value $3,334. Visit 560theanswer.com for complete rules.
Hey, Butch, all I ever see you eat is raw meat, whiskey, and an occasional bowl of rusty nails. Now, I know you're tough, but with your diet, what's your secret to avoiding the flu?
Jim, this is between us. You hear?
Sure, Butch, you can trust me.
Well, I take Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. I take them on the go or under the table when no one's looking. It's the only way I'd ever get over 10 real servings of fruits and vegetables.
Is it like a vitamin or something?
No, it's food. They only use real whole ingredients. Not that isolated or synthetic crap you get with all the other guys. This is real stuff, Jim. Real stuff. They sell direct to consumers and ship right to your door, free of charge.
Well, Buckaroo, how do I get them?
Call them at 1-800-2468-751. Write it down, Jim, before someone sees me. It's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code WAGON for a special offer.
When you're hiring, you want qualified candidates fast, and it can be hard to know where to find them. More than 3 million businesses use Indeed.com, the world's #1 job site. Whether you need entry-level or highly skilled employees, Indeed helps you find great talent and make the right hire. Indeed is offering new users a $50 credit to give their first job post premium visibility as a sponsored job. Redeem this offer at Indeed.com/promo. That's Indeed.com/promo. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Hate going to the mall? Try LaTote.com, a fashion subscription box that sends brand name clothing and accessories right to your door for one low monthly fee. Choose from brands like BCBG, Nike, Rebecca Minkoff, and more. All month long, get unlimited totes each month. Simply wear, return, and repeat. Go to LaTote.com, enter code radio at checkout to get 50% off your first month. Wear what you want, return everything in the mail when you're done. Repeat all month long. Again, that's LaTote.com, enter code radio.
If you still haven't purchased the very best pillow, of course I'm talking about MyPillow, the 4-pack deal is back. So I strongly urge you to go online or call now to make sure you take advantage of this great deal. A great night's sleep is so important, so give yourself the gift of a great night's sleep by ordering a MyPillow. By using the promo code Amy, you'll get the absolute best deal available anywhere. The MyPillow 4-pack deal includes 2 premium MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows at 50% off. I love that I can move the fill to get the support I need, regardless if I sleep on my back or side. I never wake up with a stiff neck or headache. And MyPillow is made in America, washable and dryable, hypoallergenic, and has a 10-year warranty plus a 60-day money-back guarantee. So get your 50% off the 4-pack in February by calling 800-489-0201. Use the promo code Amy or visit MyPillow.com. That's 800-489-0201, promo code Amy.
AM 560, The Answer.
You can spark some new ideas to update, renovate, and revitalize your home at the Old House, New House Home Show at Pheasant Run Resort in St. Charles, February 9th through the 11th. And this morning, we're giving away a family 4-pack of admission tickets to the Old House, New House Home Show at Pheasant Run Resort to the, what number caller, Kristen?
Gosh, this is so tough.
Yeah.
16. Is that too high?
16th caller, that's fine. I'll just give these guys a lot of work.
Oh,
but
I'm
that's
sorry.
Fine. Just impose on
Amateur
them.
hour
Yeah,
over
I guess
here.
you just impose on your host. Real nice. Real nice,
Sorry.
McQuarrie. 16th caller, 312-642-5600 wins a family 4-pack of admission tickets to the Old House, New House Home Show at Pheasant Run. Coming up at 8:38, we take up the threat of a teacher strike at West Chicago High School, and Governor Rauner makes his final State of the State address. That's at 8:38. Now we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
24 degrees, fair skies. The top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee claiming the committee's Republican chairman made, quote, material changes, end quote, to the GOP memo that shows anti-President Trump bias. California Congressman Adam Schiff says Devin Nunes made substantive edits to the document. Nunes fired back, saying there were only minor edits to the memo, grammatical fixes, and edits requested by the FBI and by the minority themselves. Dozens of GOP lawmakers, their families, and staff were on a chartered Amtrak train that crashed into a garbage truck in rural Virginia Wednesday. One person on board that truck was killed. More than 24 Russian athletes banned from the Olympics for life will now be allowed to compete in this month's Winter Games. The Court of Arbitration for Sport overturning suspensions given to 28 Russian athletes. Commuters are paying more to ride Metra today. Fare hikes going into effect. The price of one-way tickets jumping 25 cents in all zones. 3 are in custody following a police chase and officer-involved shooting in Harvey. Officers began the chase looking for several suspects who were on the run from the scene of a crash yesterday at 148th and Dixie Highway. Several Chicago police officers are accused of ripping off drug dealers. The Tribune reporting the officers have been stripped of their police powers while the FBI and Chicago police investigate. And someone please cue Ray Stevens. 24-year-old man faces charges this morning after stripping off all of his clothes, running onto the green at the Phoenix Open golf tournament yesterday. Police say Adam Stallmock ran onto the green at the 17th hole at the TPC Scottsdale, completely naked, danced around for several minutes, checked the video, before he was finally taken into custody. Chicago sports, Bulls fell to the Trailblazers, 124-108. Blackhawks begin their short 2-game trip to Canada tonight, taking on the Canucks. The news service of TheraWorks Relief. To relieve muscle cramps in your legs and feet, use TheraWorks Relief. This fast-acting foam, clinically proven to relieve leg and foot cramps. TheraWorks Relief can also prevent muscle cramps. Get TheraWorks Relief today at select CVS and Rite Aid pharmacies or TheraWorksRelief.com. 8:35, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher breaks down a huge win for the president.
What I would say is this is what leadership looks like. What I would say is, yep, we still got a long way to go. The government is reopened because the president didn't blink. You know what was different? It was in the messaging. You know who delivers a message like a bolt of lightning? Yeah, that guy that lives at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue these days.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
A bad cold and flu season is upon us. The main difference between them is the flu brings a fever. Be prepared with the Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer, backed by more than 70 clinical studies.
Building owners and managers. When it comes to maintaining the value of your commercial, industrial, or institutional building, there will be roof repairs or replacements for you to deal with. When you're looking for a good roofing contractor, search the ChicagoRoofing.org website for Chicagoland's best roofing contractors for repairs, replacements, or new construction. And you can check out their innovative roofing work also. All contractors at ChicagoRoofing.org proudly employ members of Roofers Union Local 11 who have undergone 5 years of rigorous training at the country's leading school for roofing. the Chicagoland Roofers Joint Apprenticeship Training Center. ChicagoRoofing.org contractors are at the top of their game and provide Chicagoland's best value for the best roofs all year long. Building owners and managers, you will have roof repairs or replacements to deal with. It's inevitable. Go to ChicagoRoofing.org. That's ChicagoRoofing.org.
Old Man Winter is here, and you'll need a heating and cooling company you know you can depend on. Look no further. That company is the original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling. They're not one of those massive impersonal companies with inexperienced technicians and subcontractors. Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling sends only their own highly skilled technicians. From service to installation and everything in between, their work quality and customer service is the best. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling keeps homes and businesses comfy and warm. Call Carrie at 847-545-1700 or visit arlingtonheightsheatingandcooling.com. Mention AM 560 and receive 20% off your first service call. That's Carrie at 847-545-1700 or online at arlingtonheightsheatingandcooling.com. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling, not the biggest, just the best.
It is 8:38. Let's get an update on the roads this morning in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. Northbound Tri-State, it's heavy 95th to 31st. And from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, northbound Veterans Memorial slow, Boughton Toll to the Reagan Tollway, and Army Trail to 290. The other tollways are good. Eden's 20 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 28. Kennedy, 59 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, 45 from Montrose, 40 in the Express, outbound 32 to the airport. Eisenhower, 55 minutes, 390 to downtown, 35 from Manheim, outbound 44 minutes to 390. Stevenson, an hour and 2 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound clear. The Ryan is 40 minutes, 95 to downtown. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. A breezy day ahead, much colder. High near 20, clear and frigid, a low of 3 overnight, 24. And temperatures falling at O'Hare under fair skies. Your next news update at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and filling in for Amy. Kristen McQuarrie continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Don't forget that you can watch Chicago's Morning Answer on the Income Store live video stream every morning at 560theanswer.com.
Listen to podcasts of Joe Walsh and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Congratulations to Jeff and Elgin, who won the family four-pack of admission tickets to the Old House, New House Home Show at Pheasant Run in a couple of weeks. Kristen McQuarrie set you up there to be the 16th
right. You're welcome,
caller.
Jeff.
Yeah,
I
very
expect
nice.
a kickback of 1 ticket, please.
West Chicago teachers, West Chicago high school teachers, 129 of them are threatening to strike. Contract negotiations breaking down, demanding guaranteed salary increases of 17%, 4.5% a year, 4.25% a year, over 4.25 over a year, 4.25 each year over 4 years, 17%, 4-year deal. That's what they want. And the district is saying it's going to be difficult to finance. West Chicago high school teachers currently paid between $48,000 and $99,000 base salary. Median household income West Chicago is about $71,500 according to the census. The recently expired contract was providing West Chicago high school teachers base salary increases of between 2.75% and 5.5% over the 4 years of that contract, depending on seniority. And
what has CPI been over the past 4 years? 1.6, 1.3.
yeah.
I think there's a 0.1. It is up to, I think, 2.1.
Those are raises, not cost of living adjustments, and they're not portrayed as cost of living adjustments. Those are raises. Also, all West Chicago high school teachers provided term life insurance equal to 1.5 times their annual salary, as well as income protection disability insurance that would provide any teacher up to $5,000 per month if they were unable to work. Cost of both paid by taxpayers. West Chicago taxpayers pay 80 to 85% of teacher health insurance premiums. which costs between $5,000 and $20,000 a year. You're a non-union private sector employee, whereas West Chicago teachers pay 15%, 15 to 20% of their health insurance premium. You in the private sector pay on average 65% of your health insurance premium through your employer. So about 4 times higher for the average person. Also, the pension. West Chicago high school teachers contribute 9% of their salaries to their pension, except that's not true because West Chicago taxpayers pay 8.5% of that 9%. So actually, West Chicago teachers pay 0.5% into their pensions, which, by the way, they will all get back everything they put in at the 9% level, much less the 0.5% level in year 1, 1.5, 2 on the outside. Is that what you're scheduled for with your 401k?
Yeah.
3-1.
So local taxpayers, the local taxpayers are picking up that other 8.5%, right? That they're supposed to be taking out of their paychecks, but they aren't. And that's something that school districts negotiate away during contract time. Then state taxpayers, through our income tax, we kick in millions of dollars every year to supplement TRS. And so you're getting hit twice, taxpayers.
Also, 13 sick days per year. They can accumulate up to 340 unused sick days over their career, which are paid out when they retire or leave at $400 a day. So they have the potential to build up $136,000 payout for unused 6 days.
I mean, most districts do that. You can cash in when you leave. You can usually get a full year's salary and cash out your unused vacation and sick days. It's also in contracts. The issue here is whether or not West Chicago taxpayers are going to have the courage to stand up to what is too big of an ask, or whether they're going to do what most taxpayers do. They don't want to seem mean, and they'll side with the teachers. They want to support their teachers, and then they'll turn around and complain about their property tax bills.
How's it going?
That's usually what happens.
Yeah, how's it going? I mean, maybe, maybe just give them what they want. Maybe they've earned it. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. I don't want to be accused of teacher bashing.
Oh, you already have. We've already gotten some calls.
Yeah, well, we'll get to those.
Okay.
But, I mean,
they didn't listen to your ground rules, Dan.
They didn't. They really didn't. They don't really want to listen, and they certainly don't want to be forced to respond to data. I'm just laying out the data. How's West Chicago High School doing? You know, in terms of what they're charged to do, educate children. The district spends $18,736 per student per year.
18,000.
18.7, yeah.
That's about, what's the state average, 7 or 8?
No, it's higher than that. I think it's got to be closer to 10 these days, doesn't it?
I think the state average is still under 10, but
okay.
I'll look it up right now while we're talking.
All
How
right.
about that?
Very good. By the way, district spending, to your point, has risen from $14.5 million in 1997 to $34.3 million last year, real dollars. 53% increase in per pupil expenditure, real dollars adjusted for inflation the past 2 decades. So what's happening with all the new money? And
What's happening?
Yeah.
Sound like Bruce Rauner.
I
What's
do
happening?
like to drop my G's. In 2017, 64% of West Chicago high school sophomores failed the statewide SAT exam. In 2016, 80% of all West Chicago high school students who took the statewide PARCC exam failed it. It was actually 9 points worse than they did in 2015. Of last year's graduating West Chicago high school senior class, 16% were deemed college ready by the ACT. Now, 64% of the 300 students in that graduating class went to college, most of whom enrolled in Illinois Community College, and that's fine. But just in terms of, are we preparing kids for post-secondary work or the workforce? That's the question, isn't it? Yeah. So 16% college ready 80% fail on PARCC, 64% fail of sophomores fail on SAT exam. So, and we've increased spending by 53% over the last 20 years. How's it going? Well, what's the return? Do we care? I don't know. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line. We have gotten some calls. We took this up a little bit earlier in the show. We got some calls, because teacher bashing. So here's Mike, whose mom was a teacher. Here's his argument.
Hey, this is Mike. I just want to give you guys a call. I'm from Elmhurst, and in regard to your discussion about teachers and pensions and things, my mom was an Illinois school teacher for 30 years, and when she retired, she got her pension and everything. My father was still alive. She got his Social Security, but she didn't get Social Security because she paid into her pension instead of Social Security. However, when my father passed away, she did not get the survivor benefits for my father. She just got her pension money. So what happens to these poor teachers is when their spouse dies, they don't get survivor benefits like everybody else. So they basically get a pay cut of more than half of their income. It's a pretty sad state of affairs, and I believe it was put in place by Dan Rostenkowski. So you might want to take a look at that and just discuss that a little bit when you're beating up these teachers and their pension funds.
What do you think, Kristen?
I mean, I don't know much about survivor benefits and what other public sector employees get, but the discussion always turns into the idea that we want to throw teachers out on the street. Even the most dramatic and so-called draconian pension reform bills that have even been discussed and, yes, struck down by the Illinois Supreme Court only dealt with controlling the growth of pensions and freezing them for a couple of years, freezing those 3% compounded increases. That's it.
Well, yeah, something else, too. So Mike's mom, who was a teacher for 30 years, probably, it sounds like from Mike, she's probably my dad's age. So that was a very different time in terms of compensation for teachers and for public sector employees. Over the last 30 years, of course, we've seen a dramatic incline, upward movement of salaries and pension benefits that have been provided public sector workers. It's just a fact. Those are the numbers. And so this isn't railing against Mike's mom or anybody else. It's talking about a system that doesn't work, except for the politicians who make promises they know they'll never be able to finance. They don't care. They sell people a bill of goods. You see your home taken out from underneath you because too many of you fall for it, frankly, and vote in the people who keep selling everybody this bill of goods, and realize your home is being slowly liquidated by these people you elect until you go to try and sell it or get the hell out of here. So there's a lot of blame to go around about this kleptocratic system that we have. But teachers, we don't get Social Security. Right. You don't pay into Social Security. For the people who don't get Social Security, you don't pay into Social Security. So what are we talking about? Here's the question to ask in response to that for anybody who actually wants to have an intelligent discussion on this, maybe in the course of your everyday life. Who, by show of hands, because I ask this question all the time when I get that response at a forum or a speech or whatever, who wants to trade in their state pension for Social Security? Raise your hand. Right? Because what's Social Security capped at? $35,000?
And you can't even start
right
67 years old to fully experience whatever you paid it. It's not even going to be there, I don't think, for me. Frankly.
And I'm sorry, what is the average pension? I mean, I know in Chicago, teacher 30 years in, the average pension today is $72,000. That's before you start the compounding. So you want to trade that in for Social Security? Karen Lewis and the silliness that we hear from the leadership of these teachers unions? Of course you don't. So spare me the flim-flammery of we don't get Social Security. Right, you didn't pay in and you got an exponentially better deal than Social Security. Not to mention your pension out. Did you just hear this? And this happens in most school districts. The 9% that teachers are required to pay in, just using this as an example since we're talking about a potential teacher strike in West Chicago, most of the time the taxpayers are picking up most, if not nearly all, in the case of West Chicago, the teachers' contribution into their own pension system. In Chicago, where it's 7% of the 9% is picked up by taxpayers. Here's how that actually works out. over the course of their life, their career, I should say, a Chicago public school teacher will put in about $140,000. And they're going to get, if they live to average life expectancy, $2.1 million out. And they're not really putting in $140,000. They're putting in 1/4 of $140,000. They're getting multiple of what they put in all back in the first 6 months of their retirement. Who has that in the private sector? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line. In addition to the retirement age, in addition to the ability to do outside consulting work like the superintendents do. Those are the biggest scammers with that double dipping play. So, I mean, just spare me the poor this and the poor that, and let's talk math and system. System.
Will you respond to one of the things I get a lot is that, and this is something the Center for Tax and Budget Accountability puts out.
No, Ralph Martier.
Right, I know.
Talk about flim-flammery.
You know this question, but that, the reason that this is an issue, the reason this is at a crisis point is because the state failed and borrowed against the pension funds for so long. Do you think that had the state made appropriate actuarially required payments into these funds, that they would be sustainable?
Well, if you didn't do much of anything else in state government, sure. I mean, there's always a way to make the math work if you extract more wealth and if you diminish more programs. If you just exist to provide jobs and pensions for public sector workers, sure. I mean, there's a ways to make the numbers work, but not if you want roads and Medicaid and support for higher ed and all of the other services and the provision of services for people that are truly vulnerable, like the developmentally disabled. If you want all that and you want pensions where you're getting a multiple of the median household income in this state in retirement, how do you make this work? This massive Ponzi scheme. People making $50,000 financing guaranteed benefit levels of $100,000 for $500,000 to 750,000 people.
It's not workable. And I would also just point out that the Supreme Court, when they struck down and preserved pension benefits cannot be impaired, was in May of 2015. The legislature has done zip. They don't even talk about what we could or should be doing. As I mentioned earlier, we should be passing other pension reform bills, a consideration model, 401k3 for incoming workers, talk about changing the Constitution. We should be floating more proposals up to the Illinois Supreme Court. Nothing has been done.
And by the way, the whole thing about they lied to us. Your union lied to you because those skipped payments, those short funding of the pensions, the public sector union bosses were in on it because they had that provision in the Constitution. Sure, go ahead. Just give us the sweeteners. Ramp up our benefit levels. It's somebody else's problem 20 years from now. And we've got the constitutional provision, so we've got the court to backstop it. Okay. Well, when those pension funds capsize, we'll see. And they're going to, starting with the Chicago Police Pension Fund. And I know coppers don't want to hear that, and the FOP doesn't want me to say it, but it's true. That's the next one. But by 2021, at current pace, unable to pay current beneficiaries. Chicago Fire right behind. We'll get to Chicago Public School teachers in maybe another 5 to 7 years, and then we'll go to the state side. I mean, other than the General Assembly Pension Fund, which is already, in full death spiral. Good. They don't deserve pensions, the politicians who set these schemes up.
But they also haven't gotten rid of that. Another thing.
Well, of course.
They have not gotten rid of their own pension system. And unlike other states that have that similar constitutional language, like New York has 7 different tiers. Every time they felt that they were toppling over, they created a new tier with less generous benefits for new workers so that it would meet constitutional muster. We still haven't done that.
And you know why they continue to lie to you? Because we continue to elect them. People who tell the truth are the bad guys. People who are lying to us and telling us what we want to hear, they're the good guys. Are you 4 years old? Because you have to be to buy this rap.
To your point on Chicago, real quick, since I live there, you do too. Even though we have raised water rates and Rahm Emanuel has done all these different things to try to infuse these funds with additional tax revenue, they are still dropping in their unfunded liability. All of the extra money is not digging us out. That's how deep the hole is. That's how bad the unfunded liabilities are, that even though we're shoveling more money into these funds, the unfunded liabilities year to year continue to rise.
We don't like being lied to, so we're going to keep elevating the liars. Keep voting for the liars. Okay.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
What interest rate would you rather pay on your credit card debt? 17% or less than 6% APR? The answer is obvious, Lightstream. Because with Lightstream, you may be able to consolidate credit card debt and dramatically cut your interest rate to as low as 5.49% APR with AutoPay. Plus, radio listeners get an additional rate discount. Just go to lightstream.com/news. With average interest rates on credit card debt at 17% APR, Lightstream could save you thousands in interest. And because Lightstream is a division of SunTrust Bank, one of the nation's largest and strongest financial institutions, you can have complete peace of mind. The application takes just minutes, and there are no fees and no pressure. Just lower rates, one low fixed monthly payment, and huge savings. So if you have good to excellent credit, apply today and get a special interest rate discount when you go to lightstream.com/news. That's lightstream.com/news. Lightstream.com/news.
Subject to credit approval. Rates include 0.5% autopay discount available only when you select autopay prior to loan funding. Terms and conditions apply and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com for important information about limits on Lightstream loans.
Hey, Butch, all I ever see you eat is raw meat, whiskey, and an occasional bowl of rusty nails. Now, I know you're tough, but with your diet, what's your secret to avoiding the flu?
Jim, this is between us. You hear?
Sure, Butch, you can trust me.
Well, I take Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. I take them on the go or under the table when no one's looking. It's the only way I'd ever get over 10 real servings of fruits and vegetables.
Is it like a vitamin or something?
No, it's food. They only use real whole ingredients. Not that isolated or synthetic crap you get with all the other guys. This is real stuff, Jim. Real stuff. They sell direct to consumers and ship right to your door, free of charge.
Well, Buckaroo, how do I get them?
Call them at 1-800-2468-751. Write it down, Jim, before someone sees me. It's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code WAGON for a special offer.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity, sponsored by Upstream-Ideas.com. Trump's proposal on DACA, summarily pronounced DOA by congressional Dems, improved the GOP's electoral chances in November bigly. Here's how. First, by seeing a path to citizenship for 800,000 DACA recipients and raising the Democrats 1 million more, Trump took Schumer's and Pelosi's mascots away from them. If you're offered the prospect of a path to citizenship, are you willing to pass on your chance to pursue the left's open borders fantasy? Second, by providing a path even for those who were eligible but didn't seek DACA designation, Trump outflanked the Democrats on the issues of fairness, good faith, and empathy. Third, Trump positioned himself with 70% of Americans on the immigration issues punch list, normalizing DACA designees, building the wall, prioritizing based on skills, and punishing sanctuary cities and states. Trump has put congressional Democrats in God's little acre. If they cut a deal, Trump is the pragmatic, reasonable businessman who got a decent bipartisan deal done. If they don't cut a deal, Trump is the pragmatic, reasonable businessman foiled by inflexible Democrats whom he met more than halfway. The art of this deal is Trump has painted Democrats into a corner.
What's happening? What does it mean? Why is it important? We've got the answer. AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.